game between two historically black colleges as over 70,000 fans will file into the Florida Citrus Bowl just to be a part of this unique experience. The Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida is the site of the Walt Disney World Florida Classic as the Rattlers of Florida A&M take on the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman College. Hello, everyone. Charlie Neal along with my partner, Eddie Robinson. And, Eddie, when you look at this particular game, and these two schools, it's about bragging rights, it's about recruiting. And if you don't get excited about this game today, you need to get your heart checked, because last year, these two teams combined for 110 points.
Yes, the coaches don't need to give a pregame speech for this game. A lot of in-state players on both teams, and they know what the Florida Classic is all about. Both of these teams have players who really want to win this game.
When you look at Florida A&M, you look at Reuben Carter in his first year as their head coach. First time in the Florida Classic, has done a fantastic job despite the circumstances in which he got the job.
Yes, Coach Carter is a rookie to the Florida Classic. He has a chance to have a 6-5 season, which is a winning season if he can pull off this game. However, a 4-year-old kid came up to him and said, "Coach, can you just beat BCC?"
Well, on the other side, you have Alvin Wyatt. This is the 9th time he's been here as the head coach. He's been here many times also as an assistant, so he knows all about this Classic.
Yes, he's a BCC alum, so of course he knows about the Classic, and he titles this a JS, which is a job saver. So even though he's won the last 3 games, he knows that he needs to keep beating FAMU to keep his job.
And let's go down on that sideline. The third member of our broadcast team is Jay Walker. Let's see what Jay has for us.
Guys, you talk about a game with fanfare and support. By averaging over 70,000 fans for the past 6 years, the Disney Florida Classic has become the largest African-American sporting event in the nation. Now, while these two schools are big rivals, they do have a love for each other for 364 days a year. But make no bones about it, they are bitter rivals on game day. And the interesting footnote, although Florida A&M has a decisive advantage in the series, since Alvin Wyatt returned to his alma mater, the series has become a lot more competitive. Guys, back to you up top.
All right, it's the 59th time that these two teams have met. Bethune-Cookman has won the last 3. We'll be back with the opening kickoff from Orlando in a moment.
50 years ago, we dedicated a place to all the castle gazers and elephant pilots, to all princesses in training and unofficial mouseketeers, to all the parents who remember and all the kids who are just finding out, to all who ever dreamed of space or that magic could be a place.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Join us now for a celebration big enough to hold 50 years of magic. Walt Disney World.
Local and long distance, high-speed internet, digital satellite TV, and singular wireless. You can arrange your SBC services however you want to create a flexible plan that fits your needs. Makes cable seem like, well, history.
ESPN brings you a stellar field, including 6 national champions in the fiercest preseason tourney of the year. First round action of the EA Sports Maui Invitational begins Monday at 2:30 on ESPN2 and continues at 9 on ESPN.
Back here in Orlando, the Disney Florida Classic, Florida A&M against Bethune-Cookman. We're at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. About 45 minutes ago, we had a pretty good rain coming down here in the Citrus Bowl. Scattered showers. The rain has held up for the time being. The winds are out of the east-northeast at 11 miles an hour. The temperature is 77 degrees. And let's look at the series history. 59th time these two teams have met. And FAMU had won the previous 5 in the Alvin Wyatt era, but over the last 3 games, it's been Alvin Wyatt who's come out on top. Bethune-Cookman College won last year in overtime in a thriller, 58-52. Florida A&M leads the overall series 16-9. And there's Reuben Carter in his first year as the head coach in Tallahassee. He was an assistant at Howard, Temple, Maryland, and San Jose State. Redskins, Jets, and Broncos on the professional level. And he's the 14th coach in the history of Florida A&M. And Bethune-Cookman kicking off. Roosevelt Kaiser in the end zone. He's going to come out with it. And he faked the reverse, and he goes straight up the field. Kaiser back at the 40, 45, 50. 40 and down in Bethune-Cookman territory on a great return. Roosevelt Kaiser brings it out of the end zone, 63 yards, and that's the way this game starts out.
And that's how you want to start a game. Of course, Roosevelt Kaiser, he's leading the nation in kickoff returns. Great kickoff return guy. He fakes the reverse, and then he heads straight up the field. What that does is it freezes the defense. The coverage team, for a minute, thinks it's going to be reversed, and everybody pauses. And Kaiser, wide receiver, he knows how to run with the football when he gets into the open field.
At the Bethune-Cookman 37 is where Florida A&M will go to work. Their quarterback is Albert Chester. He's running the offense today. And he hands off, coming around to the right side. Not much running room as they keep it on the ground with Kaiser, the receiver, on the end around.
And you can see Kaiser's going to touch the ball a lot today. Punt returner, kickoff returner, wide receiver. He's involved in a lot of offensive plays.
Albert Chester is the quarterback. Up until yesterday, Coach Carter wasn't sure which quarterback he was going to start today, whether it was going to be Chester or Driscoll. But it's Albert Chester getting the nod in this particular contest today. It is 2nd down and 9. Back to pass is Chester. Now Chester looks like he wants to take off and run, and he dives forward inside the 30 to about the 29. Let's look at the backs and receivers for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Aubrey Parrish is a wide receiver along with Kaiser and Ronald Wright. The backs, Rashard Pompey and Craig Arline. The offensive line, Terrell Baldwin is the center. Moss and Black are the guards. Delancey and Richard Kuntz here are the tackles. It is 3rd down, 3rd and about 2. From the shotgun they work. Hand off to Pompey. And Pompey, who's had back-to-back 100-yard games, is dropped short of a 1st down. So to bring up a 4th down situation, the ball's at the 29. We're looking at about a 46-yard field goal attempt for Florida A&M. Wesley Taylor. He's struggled as of late. He's 50% in field goals this year. Kaiser is the holder. This one is up. It's got the distance, but it's wide left. So the drive that started at the Bethune 37 ends up at the Bethune 29, and they come away with nothing.
That's a great job by the Bethune-Cookman's defense. They're coming onto the field in a short field situation. Ball is on their side of the 50-yard line. They're able to get a 3 and out, and then they also have a missed field goal. Great job by Bethune-Cookman.
For the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman College, Jimmy Russell is leading them at the quarterback spot. He's out of Jonesboro, Georgia, and there you see the stats on him. He doesn't throw a lot of balls. They like to run that triple option, and he's keeping it, and then he pitches it, and it's Weems who's the pitch man, and he gets it up to about the 32, 33-yard line. The backs and receivers for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. First of all, the running backs, Eric Weems, Corey Council, and P.J. Smith. The receivers are Jonathan Summers and Darius Butler. Up. And now 2nd down. No huddle offense. And Coach Alvin Wyatt said he probably runs the no huddle offense better than 2 of the big previous names at quarterback for Bethune-Cookman College, Alan Silver and Patel Troutman. He's going to pass on 2nd down. Wide open! Can't get to it. Wide open downfield was Jonathan Summers. The defender had fallen down, and the ball was just overthrown.
You have to be careful with that triple option offense because you get really reeled into the play fakes. You see he fakes to the fullback with the A-back coming around, but you still have to play pass also. Safety doesn't get over the top, cornerback slips. Florida A&M real lucky that it's not 7-0 right now.
It is 3rd down. Third down for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. Here's a pass. Wide open for a 1st down is Eric Weems. He's down to the 40-yard line. of Florida A&M, and the offensive line led by Vernon Edwards in the middle. The guards, Fred Nolan and Robert Williams, and the tackles are Massey along with Johnny Santiago. First down and 10 for the Wildcats of Bethune. They convert the big third down play. Now the option, the pitch back to Weems. Has a little daylight. Jukes a man, gets a block, and bounced out at about the 17 to 18-yard line. They'll mark it at the 19.
Eric Weems, he's the big guy for Bethune-Cookman. Of course, he's the counterpart to Roosevelt Kaiser. Here is just a counter option. He goes in motion like you're going to run the option one way, and he comes back and reverses field. Once he gets on the edge, that's what you want to do with the option. He's hard to tackle. You see there, he's making guys miss, and he knows what to do with the football once he gets it in his hands.
It is first down and 10. Red zone territory for Bethune-Cookman College, where they're ranked second in the conference in that department. Option to the right. Weems has the ball. He's going to be dropped for a loss back to the 24-yard line. And look at the defense for Florida A&M. The down lineman, Alterique Brown, Steven St. Felix, along with Tyrone McGriff and Lonte Finney. The linebackers, O'Brandy Bryant is a good one, along with Vernon Wilder and Darius Fountain. Secondary, Keith Williams, Sam Dowdy, Ernest Williams, and Julius Randall. It is second down. Second and 14 after the loss of 4. Option to the left. Here's the pitch back on the fumble. And Weems manages to get positive yards out of what should have been a loss.
Yeah, very difficult play for Bethune-Cookman right there. I mean, that ball is on the ground, and you never want the ball to touch the ground. But triple option, you can see as they come down the line, Jimmy Russell not afraid to pitch that ball late. That makes it real hard on the Florida A&M defense. You want to make Jimmy Russell make a decision, run it or pitch it as soon as you can. But when he can do those type of things, and Weems, once he gets it in his hands, he can do big things with the ball.
Second, third down situation for Bethune today. They're 1-of-1. Here's Jimmy Russell rolling to the right under a little pressure. Gets a block and then throws it, and it's incomplete. Darius Butler was the intended receiver on the far sideline, and this ball goes incomplete.
And Jimmy Russell, he's only 5'9", 175. Coach White said he's a frail kid compared to the other quarterbacks that he's had. So you have to be somewhat able to get him on the edge of the defense. I mean, yeah, on the edge of the defense, so he can throw the ball and get a good viewing lane or a throwing lane and get it to the receiver. So that's why you see a lot of rollouts with him going to his right and left, even though he's a right-handed quarterback.
And that brings on a fourth down situation. So the kicking unit will come on. Jesus Cortez, who's 8 of 15, along of 50 this year from the field goal perspective, will kick this one. This will be a 33-yard field goal attempt. From the left hash mark, it's up, it's got the distance, and this one is good. So each team has attempted a field goal on their first possession, but Bethune has been successful. This one from 33 yards out. 10:30 is the time remaining. And we're here in the first quarter in Orlando for the Disney Florida Classic. It's the 26th edition. 3-0 Bethune.
Coming to historic Legion Field December 10th in Birmingham, Alabama, is the 2005 SWAC Football Championship. The best in the East meets the best in the West in a winner-takes-all showdown. No polls, no computers, no rankings. This one is decided on the gridiron. It all happens Saturday, December 10th at 1 p.m. at Legion Field. Tickets on sale now at all Ticketmaster outlets or visit SWAC.org.
The Chicago White Sox have won the World Series championship. Celebrate with Sports Illustrated's must-have hardcover commemorative book. SI's amazing photography and writing captures the historic season of the Chicago White Sox. Plus, get this set of 3 officially licensed MLB championship baseballs, honoring each step of their postseason run. This timeless set, complete with game scores and a special display stand, is available only from SI. All these great collectibles are free with your paid subscription to SI. Get 56 issues for only $1.59 an issue. Save 60% off the cover price. Use your credit card, and this limited edition bronze White Sox World Series coin is also free. Enclosed in a display case that includes scores and stats, this double embossed mint coin is a valuable keepsake. So order now to get the SI commemorative book, the set of 3 championship baseballs, plus the limited edition coin and card, all free from Sports Illustrated. Go to SIMLB2005.com or call now.
Be smart.
Be independent.
Be powerful.
Be frugal.
Be strong.
Be opportunistic.
Be unafraid.
Be patient.
Be unemotional.
Be ruthless.
Be confident.
Be first.
Be ready.
Focus. Be sure.
In other words, be extraordinary with Power E-Trade Pro, a totally customizable platform and low pricing for stock and options trading. Power E-Trade Pro. At E-Trade Financial, we keep challenging the ordinary to help investors be extraordinary.
Charlie Neal along with Eddie Robinson and our sideline reporter Jay Walker here at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida for the 26th edition of the Florida Classic. This one presented by Walt Disney World. Glad you could join us for this one. And 3-0 is our score as Cortez will kick it off. Roosevelt Kaiser is a deep man, but it'll come to one of the up running backs, and he is bounced down right at about the 31-yard line. That was a linebacker who brought it back. Patrick was on the stop for Bethune-Cookman. As we look at the defensive line with McCullough and Livingston, the tackles, the ends of Mordecai along with Dennis King. The linebackers, Torian Charles, a good one in the middle. Chris Robinson gets to start at one outside linebacker spot along with Rodney Hughes in the secondary. It is first down. First and 10. Chester calling the signals from the shotgun. Going to the air. Has a man open in the middle, and it is complete to Swain. Swain, a first down, fumbles the ball, and is picked up. Bethune-Cookman has the ball now, and bringing it back up the field is Ricky Williams. He's a very dangerous runner. And now a completion and a turnover, the first in the ball game.
Big break for Bethune-Cookman. Florida A&M does a good job with the catch, but it's the run after catch that messes him up. Ball just knocked out from behind. Always dangerous. You have to protect the football once you get into open traffic. You have to realize that those defensive linemen are coming from behind. Now, Ricky Williams, keep in mind, he's the kickoff returner, so you don't want that guy running around with a bunch of offensive linemen trying to tackle him on the return.
From their own 41-yard line, second possession of the day for the Wildcats of Bethune, in a different role than they were in a year ago, which they had to rally in this particular ball game to force overtime, and then they eventually won it. But right now, the option back to Weems going around the right side. That is not Weems on the carry this time. That's P.J. Smith. There he goes. He's going to the house at the 5. Touchdown, Bethune-Cookman. Make that Corey Counsell, who had a big game a week ago.
He's very productive. He doesn't need a lot of touches to get big runs and to score touchdowns. Only a freshman, 5'10", 180 pounds from Valdosta, Georgia, was actually a defensive back, and they moved him over to the offensive side of the ball this year. 59
yards on the run by Corey Counsell. 4-6, and here's Cortez to try to make it a 10-0 ball game in favor of Bethune. It's up. It is good. 9:54, the time remaining. Here it is, Mr. Counsell. He did it last week, and he's just picked up where he left off. 4.3 40 speed. You see it there. The cheerleaders getting into the act, doing push-ups after the score. They probably had to do 10 push-ups. They had to do 58 last year. that's how many points they had.
Cheerleaders will definitely be in shape.
Cortez, the third time today he's kicked the ball, and it's a short kick. They're trying to keep it away from Kaiser. Again, from the 20-yard line. Not much running room for the Rattlers of Florida A&M, and that's where they'll go to work. First down and 10 at about the 27. And let's go back and look at Mr. Corey Counsell, a freshman from Valdosta, Georgia.
Yes, as you can see, you have Florida A&M has people in place to make this play. But when you're running the option, you have to keep everybody on the inside. They don't keep the guys on the perimeter like they're supposed to. Corey Counsell is able to make one person miss because of his bad leverage. At that point, it's one-on-one. Of course, he has 4.3 speed. He's only a freshman. But all of this is just God-given ability. Nobody's going to catch Corey Counsell once he gets into the open field. FAMU has to keep the rushing attack contained on the inside.
They had the pass complete, and here's a little quick pass out to Kaiser. Kaiser bounced out after a gain up to about the 31-yard line, a gain of about 4. Now Driscoll is in at quarterback right now. They've already made a switch at quarterbacks, but it's been that way for the Rattlers all season long. They have gone with a two-headed monster at quarterback.
I mean, they were rotating every other quarter the last couple of weeks, so it's not a big surprise. I don't think it's necessarily the knock on Albert Chester. We expected both guys to play.
And this time it'll be Driscoll working out of the shotgun. He's out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. Started his college career at Arkansas State. We just saw Arkansas State in the game before ours. And here he's throwing, had a receiver in the vicinity. Let's go to Mike Hall in the studio for an update. Mike.
We got controversy in the final. Said he is in. It stands. Texas Tech wins their first 6-win Big 12 season ever, and the 4-game win streak for OU is over, Charlie.
It is 3rd down. Driscoll lets it fly, has it complete. Trying to get away is Swain, the man who fumbled the ball the last time the Rattlers had the ball, and it was Nick Oliver who came over to make the stop defensively.
Great job by BCC getting another 3 and out, forcing FAMU to punt. They had a blitz on that play, which forced him to throw the ball just a little bit quicker than he wanted to.
So the first time that FAMU has punted this afternoon. Here's Ricky Williams trying to bring it back up the field. Or was that Ricky Williams? No, number 89 coming back up with the return, and that was Daly. Let's go down to Jay Walker on the sideline.
Charlie, now we know coaches are faced with many decisions they have to make on game day. In the case of Bethune-Cookman head coach Alvin Wyatt, he's got a unique decision what he wants to do. He's very particular about his wardrobe on the sideline. I asked Coach Wyatt what goes into his pregame decision. He says, well, I bring 5 outfits to the game, and for the Florida Classic, I'll bring 7 outfits. Weather has become a factor only one time in his career, but Alvin Wyatt is definitely one of the sharpest dressed coaches in all of college football.
No question about it. You never know what he's going to put on. Here's a pass, a throwaway by Jimmy Russell. He is a very, very colorful individual. 9th coach in the history of Bethune-Cookman, played defensive back for the Wildcats from 66 to 69 and set numerous records. He's been on the athletic staff there 27 years. 17, he was the women's basketball coach, and he won a couple of MEAC titles and posting a record of 260 wins between 1978 and 1996.
Yeah, and when you talk with Coach Wyatt, I mean, he's just a very colorful guy, just great for the program, college football, and the whole MEAC. Just the guys that he's able to recruit, he just does a great job at BCC and just has a lot of love for the university.
Here's Jimmy Russell with the option, the last ditch pitch. Here's Eric Weems out of bounds in front of the Bethune-Cookman bench. Let's go to the studio, Mike Hall.
Guys, it's getting late in Ohio State, Michigan, and it's getting good. Troy Smith looking for Santonio Holmes, Steve Israel. There he is, diving into the end zone. It's 21-19.
You know, Santonio has been his go-to guy all year, and he comes up big for the Buckeyes.
2-point game, Charlie.
All right, thank you. Michigan, Ohio State. Huh? Game in East Lansing, so not East Lansing, but Ann Arbor. So Michigan trying to come up with a big win. Now we have an injury down on the field for Florida A&M. That looks like Ernest Williams, who's down, the junior out of Lincoln High in Tallahassee, Florida. When you look at this team here and you start talking about Bethune-Cookman and what they've been able to accomplish this year, Eddie, they started the season 2-0. They beat Elizabeth City and they beat Arkansas Pine Bluff before losing to South Carolina State. Then they won 2 more over Norfolk and Morgan, losing to Delaware State, then winning the next 2 over Savannah and North Carolina A&T before losing to Hampton 2 weeks ago, and they beat Howard a week ago. And, of course, this is the Walt Disney World Florida Classic, and there's a lot to do when you visit Walt Disney World here in Orlando. And let's take a look at one of their little features.
Only at Epcot in Walt Disney World, you can feel what it's like to be an astronaut on mission space. Strap in and experience a space launch aboard the most thrilling attraction in Disney history.
All right, Mr. Williams is up, walking off onto his own power, and hopefully he'll be back. Just maybe got a little wind knocked out of him. He's putting the finger up, said, "I'm okay."
Getting a little extra TV time.
Yeah.
Of course, when we talked to Coach Huff, as the defensive coordinator for Florida A&M, he told us that it's very important for those safeties. They have to run the alley. When you're trying to stop this Wyatt Bone attack, you need all 11 players involved. So cornerbacks and safeties have to make tackles and be able to read that pitch and that option decision by the quarterback. So really need to get those guys back in the game.
Eric Weems picked up the first down. He has 42 yards already in the contest. Weems goes in motion. They go to the opposite side. Council is trailing, but a good defensive play by Darius Fountain to bring down the quarterback, Jimmy Russell, on the play after about a half-a-yard gain.
Yeah, and Fountain showed some speed to run that quarterback down from the backside. That was a great job. When they're running that little counter option, you need someone to get some penetration. That's the best way to stop this option, and Fountain was able to break through and run down Jimmy Russell.
Talking about Darius Fountain, senior out of Moss Point, Mississippi, a junior college transfer from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. It is second down. And now Alvin Wyatt is out on the field. I think he wants a timeout because I don't think the personnel, he had the right personnel in the lineup, or they were doing what he wanted to do. Now he's over. He wants the referee to come over. Chuck Williams is our referee today. Now let's see what the issue is here, if we can figure this out.
Coach is definitely going to get his point across, as you can see.
It's no question. Of course, both of these schools have had a number of alum go on to the NFL. Let's start with Florida A&M. There you see Nate Newton, played at FAMU from 80 to 83, 3-time Super Bowl champ, as a member of the Dallas Cowboys from 86 to 98. Also there was Bullet Bob Hayes. He went to FAMU from 61 to 64, better known as the world's fastest human. 2 Olympic gold medals in the 64 Tokyo Olympics. And there's Willie Gallimore, running back with the Chicago Bears from 57 to 63, still holds the FAMU career rushing record with 3,592 yards. Willie Gallimore. And of course there's Reuben Carter, the head coach of the Rattlers of Florida A&M, who played his entire career as a member of the Denver Broncos at nose tackle. It is second down.
Second down 9.
Under 8 minutes to go. We're in the first quarter. Here's a reverse coming in the near side. Some running room down inside the 40. Cutting back down to the 30-yard line. And a good run on the reverse to the near side this time before Keith Williams made the stop on Jonathan Summers, the receiver.
Yeah, Jonathan Summers here. They're running an option, but also he comes with an underneath handoff, a reverse. He gets an open field. Jonathan Summers, also a guy who's dangerous with the ball. He's out of Rebound High School in Jacksonville, Florida. We just saw a little piece on Bullet Bob Hayes, another guy from Jacksonville, Florida, and he all went to Gilbert High School, which is the same high school that Coach Wyatt went to. So we're getting a lot of good players from Jacksonville.
And here's the option again. This time the pitch to the 5 and dropping the ball, and it must have went out of bounds. It was Weems on the run, but he lost the ball. It was hit, and it goes out of bounds at about the 13, 14, make it the 13-yard line.
And Bethune-Cookman, I tell you, they're playing by the seat of your pants. That ball has been on the ground a couple times today. Good pitch by Russell. I mean, Weems is just taking off down the sideline.
He got the ball in the wrong arm.
Well, that's a big thing. He just kind of pops out his hand. The only players can get away with that is Hall of Famers.
I don't know if that was not maybe a recovered fumble. Did they say he stepped out before he fumbled the ball?
I think they're saying his foot was on the line before the ball was popped out.
It is first down and 10 from the 13-yard line for Bethune-Cookman. And this time, the quarterback Russell will not get away from big number 99, Stephen St. Felix, the nose tackle.
And that's what you need when you're stopping that triple option. You have to get penetration. The nose tackle or the three techniques, the guy that's over the guard and the tackle, they can get penetration, make that quarterback bubble a little bit deeper than he wants to, or catch him with those shoestring tackles. That can slow down this triple option threat that Bethune-Cookman is trying to run today.
St. Felix had a big game against Hampton a week ago and had to come out of the game for a little while because of suffering from leg cramps, but still managed to come away with 13 tackles and a sack in that loss to the second-ranked Pirates. Russell wants to throw. Man is open, and it's complete. Far sideline. Let's go down to Jay with more on the triple option. Darius Butler on the reception.
When you talk about that wide bone for Bethune-Cookman, down here on the field level, it almost feels like you're the defender taking on a 2-on-1, sometimes a 3-on-1 fast-breaking basketball. You just know whichever way you go, you have to be making the wrong decision. And 80% of the time, the Wildcats offense can hurt you when they get the ball in the hands of guys like Eric Weems and those athletes they have. One quick injury update, Florida A&M safety Ernest Williams has a little strain, but the training staff said he'll be back in this ball game.
All right, Jay, 3rd down and 4 now for Bethune. Here's the option to the left. Weems has it, trying to turn the corner. It's strung out, and he's knocked out of bounds by a couple of defenders. One of the men coming up to hit him was Jason Beach. Let's look at it. Devin Richardson also there to make the stop, but not before its first down is gained by Eric Weems, and it's 1st and goal for Bethune-Cookman College. They started at their own 37-yard line. 8th play of the drive. Here's Russell. He'll take it himself. Touchdown, Bethune-Cookman.
Jimmy Russell making all of the right decisions. He had a guy he could have pitched it to, but hey, if you can run it yourself at the quarterback spot, the best way to try and score.
His 10th touchdown rushing this year. 16-0 Bethune. And we're still in the first quarter with 5:43 left. Cortez has been busy. The extra point is good. 17-0 our score. That was a big drive. 63 yards, 9 plays. And we'll be back. We're in Orlando for the Disney Florida Classic, Bethune and FAMU.
And Torrey Holt.
Go big, go real. Go get a Fathead right now. They're going to be gone soon.
Fathead. Go big, real big. Classic and collectible. Fathead.com.
What are you looking at?
Welcome back to Orlando in the Disney Florida Classic, where Bethune-Cookman and that young man, Jimmy Russell, has a 17-0 lead over the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Charlie Neal along with Eddie Robinson and Jay Walker. And glad you could join us for this 26th edition of the Florida Classic. Cortez will kick it once again. Short kick. Trying to get to the middle of the field. FAMU on the return. Not a lot of running room that time for LaJuan Walker. Let's look at the last touchdown, Jimmy Russell.
And we're always talking about the triple option. Well, here it goes. You have that one option with number 34, the fullback Chauncey Hampton. Of course, the quarterback can keep it, and he can run in here and score like he just did. Or you have Council, who's coming around here as the 3rd option. And that's what makes it hard to stop See, he fakes it to the fullback. Everybody tackles him. You see the pitch guy coming around. A couple guys go with him. And, of course, the quarterback says, hey, if you're going to leave an open hole, I'll do it myself. Triple option is tough to stop.
10th touchdown for him this year. Here is Pompey. Pompey breaking tackles, and Pompey gets up close to the first down marker. Let's go to the studio and Mike Hall. Mike.
Guys, people from the South. Notre Dame. Kenny Irons has his 13th for Auburn. Charlie?
All right, thank you. A lot of excitement going on out there. Tennessee loses. Here's a play action. And here's Chester. He's going to keep it and run. And he gets the first down. That was a second down in inches, so he didn't have far to go for a first down before Chris Robinson, the linebacker, knocked him out of bounds. Going back to last year in this contest, Bethune has scored 44 unanswered points against Florida A&M, 17 of them coming today. They rallied from 27 down to win a year ago, but to tie it and then win it. Here's a little end around. Pitch back. Kaiser lets it, throws it on the ground. Had a man open. That was the quarterback, Chester, on the far side, but Kaiser just didn't put enough mustard on.
Yeah, and Kaiser was a former quarterback. He actually threw a pass for a touchdown in the Howard game early in the year. So here's the guy. They're pulling out all of the trick plays. You saw the fake reverse to him on the opening kickoff return. Now you see him with a chance to actually throw back to the quarterback. I think FAMU is realizing, hey, we need some scores, and we need to do it however we can. We've been outscored, what you said, 44-0, dating back to last year.
Yeah, that pass that Kaiser threw against Howard was to Hayward, the other wide receiver, 28-yarder. And here's a keeper by Chester. Chester finds it going very tough as he gets maybe a yard. Cato was the first man to hit him defensively for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman College. Bethune, we talked about how they started their season. FAMU, in the meantime, lost their first two to Delaware State and South Florida before beating Howard and Tennessee State. Then they lost 2 straight to Florida International and South Carolina State. They won 3 straight, beating Norfolk, Morgan State, and A&T. They lost their last one to Hampton, so they've won 3 of their last 4 games. High snap pitch out to the right side. Not a lot of room for Ronald Wright, trying to go to the right. Cato again there on the stop defensively, or that was Derek Williams on the reception.
And you can see Bethune-Cookman and the speed that they have on defense. It's going to take a real special play to get a one-on-one to get a matchup to score in Bethune-Cookman. And those guys, they've been playing real good defense with a lot of guys going to the NFL. They know exactly what they're doing.
Council, one of the deep men. And this one is going to go into the end zone. It bounced right at the goal line, but we have a penalty flag now. And let's see what the marker's all about.
I guess a roughing the kicker or something against Bethune-Cookman. Coach Wyatt does not like that.
Number 80, defense, running into the kicker. 5 yards, repeat, 4th down.
Not enough for a first down, running into the kicker as opposed to roughing the kicker. And it was a 4th and 6 situation, so it was not enough to give him the first down. It'll be a re-kick. Let's go down to Jay Walker.
If the names Rashard Pompey, Albert Chester, as well as Tyrone McGriff sound like familiar last names to Rattler fans, well, that's because they're keeping it in the family. You see, all 3 of those young men, their parents were members of FAMU's 1978 Division I AA National Championship team. And for the record, that team in 1978 is the only historically black college to ever win the I AA National Championship. Guys, back to you.
All right, certainly did. Rudy Hubbard was the coach of that team back then. This is a 4th down 1 situation, so they'll punt it again. Nobody deep. And it goes out of bounds at about the 14-yard line. So when we come back, well, actually, we're going to take a look at some new rides at Disney here in Orlando.
It's 50 years of Disney theme park magic here at the happiest celebration on Earth at Walt Disney World. All 4 Disney parks, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney MGM Studios, and Disney's Animal Kingdom have new rides, shows, and attractions brought in from Disney parks around the world for this milestone celebration.
Did you get a chance to ride on anything, did you?
Too big. I can't fit into it.
They keep the ball on the option with Weems on the carry. That's his 8th carry today. O'Brandy, one of the men on the defensive side.
I'll tell you, I have to stop by Disney and pick up something for my kids. I told them I was coming down to Orlando and they weren't coming. Of course, they did not like that at all.
Second down. Russell wants to go to the air. Puts it up. Intercepted. Downfield is Dowdy. Bringing it back, and we get a flag. Late flag after the interception. Let's see what happened. So the break that the Rattlers need. Let's see if it holds up here with Dowdy with the INT. Out of Columbus, Mississippi, a transfer.
Yeah, Jimmy Russell looked like he just had a miscommunication with Eric Weems on the pass play.
After the turnover, number 99, blocked below the waist on the return team, 15 yards, still first down.
St. Felix, guilty.
As you can see, just a little short rollout, and Weems is actually trying to get up the seam, but the linebacker pushes him and the safety knocks him down, knocks him to the side. So it's just an easy pickoff by Sam Dowdy. Probably one of the easiest plays he'll get. You just have to catch the ball right here and don't drop it. Big break for FAMU because it puts them in a scoring position. Of course, after the penalty, and Weems, tough guy, he's going to finish that tackle. He's a good blocker, runner, just a football player, really tough receiver.
So let's see with the ball at the 35-yard line for FAMU if they can capitalize. First down and 10. High formation. The pitch to the left. Pompey trying to reverse his field. Little stutter step, and he makes something out of nothing, gains 4 yards. Pompey came into the game 79 yards shy of 3,000 career yards.
I think that's what FAMU has to do. Just get back to basics, get him to some 2-back sets, let Pompey touch the ball a couple times. They can't get into a shootout with Bethune-Cookman, of course. They still have to keep their ground game going and have some patience. They're only down by 17 points. It's still the first quarter.
Driscoll in at quarterback. Pompey the lone setback. Pompey has the ball, breaks one tackle, but not the other, and is only going to get 1 yard on the play as Chris Robinson really came up and filled the hole quickly.
Yeah, 45 tackles, 2 sacks on the season. Chris Robinson, the weak side linebacker. Pompey saw the cutback hole, but it was not there long. Chris Robinson shut that door extremely fast. Good read by Pompey, just running a stretch, and he sees the cutback, but there's Chris Robinson. My man steps up there, delivers a solid lick. You're not going to break that type of tackle.
Third down and 5. Driscoll play action, throws to the near side, left side flanker screen, and trying to get to the first down marker is Kaiser. Chris Robinson again there, and it's going to be very close.
Just a quick throw out there to Kaiser. Tries to get a couple of the big offensive linemen out there to block. And let's not forget, Kaiser is the playmaker. He's definitely their guy who they want to get the ball to. Back in 2004 in this game, he had 197 receiving yards. So, you know, he's a real big play guy. And if he gets a step on any of the defenders, he can make a miss and take it to the end zone at any time.
It is first and 10 at the 25 of Bethune for FAMU. And now a timeout's being called. FAMU, Josh Driscoll wants to go over the sideline and talk things over with coach and talk about Roosevelt Kaiser and what he's been able to do this year. in his first 6 games. And there you see his season stats. He had 29 receptions, 334 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And in the last 4 games, 26 receptions, 344 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. And you see what he's done this year. He's first in the conference in receptions per game, second in reception yards per game, second in total yards, and first in yards per punt return. He's a all-around player in terms of where he ranks. He's the #1 return man in terms of the MEAC, in terms of punt returns, and ranked 31st in the nation in all-purpose yards. And against Bethune-Cookman a year ago, as you mentioned, Eddie, he set a record in this classic with 5 receptions for 197 yards, a pair of touchdowns. One of his touchdowns covered 66 yards, the other 53.
That was kind of like his coming out party. That really set up the type of things he's doing this year also.
Pompey busts through to the 19-yard line. Hughes defending. It'll be second down.
Real active group of linebackers at Bethune-Cookman have. You know, when Turian Charles, Rodney Hughes, we already saw Chris Robinson make a couple plays. These guys can cover some ground at an extremely fast pace, so it's hard to get on the edge. You almost have to run downhill and just try to wear them down.
And that's going to bring the first quarter to a close here. So they'll go down to the other end. It'll be a 2nd down and 4 facing the Rattlers of Florida A&M. They're trailing in this game 17-0. We'll be back. Second quarter action from Orlando in just a moment.
College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturdays at 10:30 on ESPN.
A lesson for parents about the power of your cable remote. Yes, you can surf the channels with it. But did you know? The cable remote can help control what your children watch. It's pretty easy. First hit Menu or Settings, then scroll through the on-screen options to set your password. Finally, block the programming by channel or rating. And talk to your children about why certain programs are not for them. Set your parental controls. It's easy. For more details on parental controls and tools, go to controlyourtv.org.
When it comes to football, no one knows the red zone like Joe Montana.
Joe Montana here with RZ Trainer, an exciting new training tool guaranteed to bring you to the top of your game fast.
Introducing RZ Trainer, a revolutionary new passing and catching trainer that immediately improves your football handling skills. Attach the adjustable belt to your waist and set the length on the rebounding cord. RZ Trainer's rebounding cord brings the ball right back every time. Improve your passing, receiving, hand-eye coordination, defensive ball handling skills, reflexes, and confidence.
When I was a kid, the only training tool I had was a tire swing. I wanted to work on passing, but instead I just wound up chasing the football. With RZ Trainer, you can get lots of throws and catches in a short amount of time, and you don't need a partner.
RZ Trainer has a built-in swivel that spins with the ball, and the rebounding cord is adjustable for throwing distances up to 30 feet. When you're done practicing, just detach the cord, and your durable leather-grain football is ready for the game. RZ Trainer is just $29.95 and comes with a 100% play better guarantee.
RZ Trainer is a great training tool. I'm amazed at how fast my son is learning to catch and throw the football.
Offense and defense alike, every football player should learn how to throw as well as catch. I threw to some of the best receivers in football. Ask them what it takes to be a great receiver, and they'll tell you soft hands. No training device helps you develop soft hands better than RZ Trainer.
RZ Trainer is just $29.95 and comes with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Order 2 or 3 and save. RZ Trainer makes a great gift year-round.
Getting to the top takes practice. RZ Trainer helps you get the most out of your practice time so you can get through the red zone and into the end zone.
Improve your game in the red zone. Get your amazing RZ Trainer for just $29.95. Call 1-800-895-3601 now and receive a mini football free. Or order online at rztrainer.com. Call now.
Marching Wildcats, the pride. 256 strong. We'll see them at halftime. Bethune-Cookman College. And right now, Florida A&M trying to erase the 17-point deficit and get on the scoreboard. They have a 2nd and 4 at the 19 of Bethune. Driscoll from the shotgun. Driscoll lets it go and it's incomplete. Swain, the intended receiver. Chris Robinson on the defense.
Chris Robinson doing a good job matching up with a receiver. He's pretty much one-on-one coverage, and he was able to not allow that catch. Driscoll sees the matchup, of course. Whenever you get a wide receiver on the linebacker, that's the place you want to go to. He threw it behind the receiver just a little bit, but Chris Robinson is still there with good coverage.
So it brings up a 3rd and 4. 1 of 4 FAMU in 3rd down conversions today. Driscoll falls down. He'll lose yards. Let's go to the studio.
Charlie, it came down to this. Michigan, Ohio State. 2nd and goal in the final minute. It's Antonio Pittman pushing in for the score, and they win it. Troy Smith 7 of 8 on the final drive. Ohio State wins 25-21 on the road. Now Penn State is up 3-0 in the first. If they lose, Ohio State will be the BCS team from the Big Ten. And after 1 quarter, Auburn is rolling over Alabama in the Iron Bowl, Charlie.
All right, thank you. Excitement in the Big Ten. A 45-yard field goal forthcoming here from Taylor. He's already missed one earlier. This got the distance, and this one is good. So FAMU gets on the scoreboard with the 45-yard field goal from Wesley Taylor. 17-3 is our score. We're in the 2nd quarter. 14-12 is the time remaining.
Available this month on DirecTV.
17-3 is our score. Alvin White, head coach of Bethune-Cookman College. And talking about Bethune, 37 former Wildcats have played in the NFL, starting with Larry Little. He played at Bethune from 65 to 68, but he's known as a member of the 72 Miami Dolphins team that went unbeaten that season. And then Charles Bowie Clark, 1973 AFC Rookie of the Year, played 8 years in the National Football League. And, of course, right now playing is Rasheem Mathis. Off the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference a couple of years ago, drafted 2nd round by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and broke Coach Alvin Wyatt's record for interceptions in a season. He had 14. Alvin Wyatt held the record with 13 here at Bethune. Bethune-Cookman on the return. Ricky Williams cuts it back. Ricky Williams, very dangerous, still on his feet, fumbles the ball. Fortunately, the sideline was his best friend. Let's go down to Jay right now.
Well, Charlie, you talked about some of those NFL legends from Bethune-Cookman. The only one that's in the NFL Hall of Fame from the Bethune-Cookman is former Cookman Wildcat head coach Larry Little. Coach Little, you're here watching the Wildcats today. You're back home at another Florida Classic.
Oh, I am. This is my 4th or 5th straight year being here since I moved back to Miami, and I enjoy them more and more every year because we beat them 3 years in a row now, and look that we're on our way to beat them 4 years in a row.
What's it like for those, you played in this game and you also coached this game. Has the magnitude of this thing just escalated to an unbelievable level?
Well, when I played in this game, it wasn't a classic. They were always beating us every year. And when I coached against them, I won 2 games against them. But it's getting bigger and bigger every year. And the job that Alvin White is doing with his football team every year is just amazing. Being as small as we are and coming up with the powerhouses that we have every year now is really great.
You know, you're a member of that 1972 undefeated Dolphin squad. Is anybody ever going to break your record, or do the Colts have a chance? Are you a little nervous?
Not really, because, see, we didn't have anybody to go undefeated before us. But now, every game, they get tighter and tighter. So I don't think they'll go undefeated. But if they do, I'll be happy. Nobody would be more happy for Tony Dungy than me.
All right. Well, it seems like you guys maybe having some more champagne, as you guys always celebrate every year. Coach Little, thanks for joining us.
All right, Jay. Thank you.
All right, Larry Little and the quarterback. We get a flag. This flag comes from the umpire. And it looks like it may be on the tackle on this. He's going to call face mask. It was Wilder who came in, and we got our first sack of the ball game.
Yeah, good play by Wilder breaking through, but of course you don't want to grab that face mask. Here Jimmy Russell's just trying to do a little too much. You can see he had the pitch guy, and with a vicious face mask right there. And they actually used it to tackle him with, which is always bad.
So it was from the spot. It was a loss all the way back to the 40. But the 15-yard face mask penalty will move the ball forward and give Bethune-Cookman a first down.
And that's just a bad penalty by Vernon Wilder. I mean, he was able to corral Jimmy Russell and try to tackle him for that big loss. It would have been extremely hard for Bethune-Cookman to try to get a first down in that situation. And now that you have the face mask penalty, especially because it was so flagrant, you have the 15-yard variety. Now they have a first down, and they're in great position once again.
11th in penalty yards per game, FAMU this year, 84 yards. Here's the pitch. Nowhere to run this time for Mr. Council, and he's shaken up. Council was really hit there. And he is hurt.
That's always tough when you don't see the defender coming. You don't have a chance to defend yourself or protect yourself. And Council just took a shot. I mean, that's just a great job from FAMU and stopping the triple option on that play.
Keith Williams was the man on the defensive side of the ball.
You see, they have a guy at the quarterback, and he just goes low on Council. A good, hard physical tackle. Hopefully he's not injured, but it's always tough. When you can't see that defender coming, you don't really know what to expect, and you don't have a chance to prepare yourself. Council, of course, was keeping his eyes focused on the football, and then the defender came out of nowhere.
He had a great game a week ago as we watched this against Howard. He only touched the ball 4 times. He ran it twice, had 1 reception, a punt return, and he had 2 touchdowns. It was the MEAC Rookie of the Week. And hopefully he'll be all right. They're working with him and have him over on the sideline. But a loss of 5.
It seems like he was able to get his foot out of the ground. So hopefully, like you said, Charlie, he'll be okay. You never want to have injuries. It's always a tough part of the football game.
A loss of 5. It'll make it 2nd down and 15. Russell wants to throw. Incomplete. Looking for Weems in front of the Bethune Butch. We're at the Disney Florida Classic, and we're in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl for this college football game here on ESPNU. Along with Eddie Robinson and Jay Walker, I'm Charlie Neal, and it's 3rd down and 15 for Bethune, who's leading by a score of 17-3. Bethune scored on a 33-yard field goal to make it 3-0. Council's 59-yard run made it 10-0. Jimmy Russell with a 1-yard run made it 17-0. And Taylor, on his 2nd field goal attempt of the afternoon, was good from 45 yards out, which is accounted for the only scoring for Florida A&M. Let's look at the total yards in this contest. FAMU just 75, 186 for Bethune-Cookman, who calls a timeout right now. You know, this is a big game for both of these squads. When you talk about what happened with the money and everything that these 2 teams and schools are able to generate, this is a big game, and it generates a lot for their athletic and general scholarship fund. Let's go to the studio and Mike Hall for an update. Mike.
Alabama taking on Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and Bama's coming back. Tim Castile with a 2-yard touchdown run. That's, you know, knowing Alabama, that's about their scoring for the next 2 weeks. But it's 21-7 there, at least on the board, Charlie.
All right, Mike. Alabama losing to Auburn right now. You know, we talk about what happened and that Reuben Carter came in under some very adverse situations. Billy Joe, who was a coach here for many years, was fired in June by FAMU for alleged NCAA rules violations. And then just last month, the NCAA cleared the way for him to get another job as possibly a head coach when they cleared him of any wrongdoing. He can also get some compensation for the 2 years that was left on his contract. The school is trying to get some type of stability right now. There've been 4 presidents and 4 ADs in the last 5 years, and then they had a disastrous attempt to try to go to Division I. Reuben comes in 2 weeks before camp is supposed to start. Coaching staff already in place. He had to work with what he had, and he's done a pretty good job. But it's 3rd down now for Bethune. Here's Jimmy Russell going to the left, gets time, throws, and it should have been intercepted. Downfield was Dowdy once again looking for number 2.
Yeah, he had a good break on that ball. I mean, his eyes were looking at the quarterback at the whole time. Jimmy Russell, here you see rolling out to his left side, throwing across his body. He sets up nice in the pocket, and Dowdy just breaks. He actually throws the ball behind Eric Weems a little and gave Dowdy a chance to pick that ball off.
Would you believe a team, the 11th game of the season, had only thrown 3 interceptions all year long? That is Bethune-Cookman, and they've thrown 1 here in the ball game today.
When you're running that wide bone, I mean, you're running the ball downhill. Of course, most of their runs are going to come off of play action. They don't have a lot of pure drop back passes. And so you're in a situation where you can have a real high-efficient offensive passing game where you don't have a lot of interceptions.
Davis Player on to punt it away for Bethune. This will be their first punt of the afternoon. They're going to get a delay of game. So that's going to move the ball 5 yards further back.
38, offense, 5 yards remains, 4th down.
Alvin, he's always getting them fired up on the sideline.
That's not a bad penalty because you still don't want to kick the ball into the end zone and get the touchback.
He's changing punters. Would you believe that?
Well, I guess Coach Wyatt thinks it is a bad penalty.
He took Davis Player out and put in Jesus Cortez, who's the field goal kicker, and he's going to punt it away. That one came close to being blocked. Not a good kick.
You have a holding penalty also.
So I would make him kick it over, wouldn't you?
Well, seeing how Coach Wyatt changed punters in the middle of the punt, I might try to make him kick it again also.
If that's what the penalty is, if it's against Bethune.
Yeah, one of the FAMU rushers just got tackled on his way to trying to block that punt.
Holding, 54 on the offense, 10 yards. Repeat the down.
So the penalty against Eric English. That's the number they call.
And as the chess match continues, at first the returner was the free safety, Dowdy, but now they have Kaiser back there, and he's a very dangerous return man. So maybe he wasn't ready to return that kick earlier, but now he's back there, and it should be a returnable ball because of the penalties.
And back in to kick it away is Davis Player.
Okay.
So you go with your number one people. Number one punt returner in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference is Roosevelt Kaiser, and he's back to receive this punt by Player. And they down it before it goes in? No. It'll be brought out to the 20. So it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Rattlers of Florida A&M at their own 20-yard line. Their 6th possession here this afternoon, under 12 minutes to go. And we're in the 2nd quarter.
Thanks for filling in, Mr. Urlacher.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Happy to help.
Join us in March for ESPN The Weekend at the Walt Disney World Resort. There's something for every fan. Visit ESPNTheWeekend.com today. Presented by Speedstick 24/7.
17-3 our score here in the 2nd quarter. Under 12 minutes to go, and FAMU with the ball trailing by a score of 17-3. 1st down and 10 at their own 20-yard line. And it's Albert Chester in at quarterback right now. He puts it in, takes it out, and now a bad pass behind the intended receiver. Let's go down to Jay. That was our line he intended the ball for. Jay, an update.
Fellas, the news is not so good for Corey Counsell from Bethune-Cookman. The trainers fear that the freshman from Georgia might have a torn ACL. He definitely won't be returning back in this ball game. Fellas, back to you.
Not good news for Mr. Counsell, who was having a banner year. I was asking Coach earlier in the week, I said, this kid, I know he wasn't a stranger to you, but everybody else, he just came out of nowhere, poof, and had a great game a week ago. Deep handoff to Pompey, and Pompey gets it out to the 28-yard line before he's tackled by Nick Oliver. You're talking about Pompey, an 8-yard gain. He has 29 yards on 5 carries in this game. He had 4 straight 100-yard games coming into this contest, and that moved him into 3rd place among the all-time great runners at Florida A&M. Had 129 against Hampton last week, 256 against A&T 2 weeks ago. Quick slant pass, 1st down is gained on the quick pop pass on the far side. Hughes on the stop defensively of Derek Williams.
3rd and 2, you can't just let the quarterback pick up and complete a pass and just sneak for those 2 yards with the receiver. I mean, the defensive backs have to crowd that line of scrimmage and don't let them complete those little quick passes like that. It was only 3rd and 2, so you can't play off 5 yards. Great play by FAMU, just getting the first down and converting.
First down and 10 now. The ball outside the 30 to about the 31-yard line. Play action to Pompey. The quick pitch to the near side. And again, it's Derek Williams on the catch, and Derek Williams gets yardage up across the 40. Almost a first down before Travis Rowland made the stop defensively.
I like the play calls here, man. They're not asking the quarterback, Chester, to do anything, out of the ordinary. Just a couple of quick passes here and there, letting the receiver's athletic ability take over. And that's what you need. Just kind of manufacture a couple offensive plays right here, and hopefully one of your receivers can make a defensive back miss and create a big play with the run after catch.
2nd down and 1. Pompey, first down, still on his feet, across midfield and into Bethune territory before being dropped at about the 48-yard line. And on the stop defensively, Raphael Cox.
Just the inside handoff to Pompey. See, he makes a couple guys miss, and he can get downhill. I mean, real fast, shifty runner. And they don't want Pompey to get started. Bethune-Cookman doesn't, because he can really control this football game and keep Jimmy Russell and the rest of the Bethune-Cookman offense on the sideline with his running game, and he can control the clock if he really gets going.
It is first down and 10, and we have movement right side of the offensive line. Looked like it was Delancey, the tackle, who moved prematurely. Let's see who it was.
Dead ball. False start. Number 70. Offense. 5 yards. It remains first down.
We were talking about Reuben Carter. It was Delancey. He didn't inherit an ideal situation when he came in here, as we talked about. In fact, the team is going to lose 28 scholarships over the next 3 years, part of those 200 violations against the athletic department. In fact, 4 programs were dropped. They're going to be back next year, but it's not the most ideal situation you want to be in. Pass complete to Kaiser and out of bounds on the near sideline, and there to run him out right away was Nick Oliver.
Yeah, but Coach Carter, I mean, he's doing a great job. Even though they're 5-5, I mean, they have a chance to get a winning season if they can pull out this victory. But I mean, he's really getting this program going in the right direction. When you talk to him, he has a lot of excitement in his voice, and he says the team is going in the right direction. They're executing better, and he's really happy with the way they're going.
It'll be 2nd down and 2 after an 8-yard gain. Wide open, and it's caught and out of bounds after the reception. Big catch downfield by Todd Jenkins, the sophomore. He's a tight end.
Yeah, tight end that only had 6 receptions, so they're not really expecting him to do a whole lot. Good play, good move with the play fake, and once Chester gets into the open field, I mean, Jenkins was open for a good 10 or 15 yards, and he was running across. I'm glad he didn't put his hands up and start waving at the quarterback, because then the defenders could see you also.
No, he was wide open.
You see, he's excited. I mean, he only had 6 catches going into this game, so when you catch a ball in this big Florida Classic, man, you're doing something.
Inside the 20. FAMU wide open. Crossing pattern on the post and down to the 1-yard line. On the reception is Aubrey Parrish. His first reception of the day. He takes it down to the 1. It'll be 1st and goal, FAMU, and it was Cox who made the touchdown saving stop.
I know Coach likes his quarterback rotation, but Albert Chester's throwing a couple good passes right here, and of course he's the more mobile quarterback. Good throw and catch, the inside slant. Luckily the safety is there, else that would definitely be a touchdown. Good job by Aubrey Parrish with the catch.
Pompey in the backfield. Let's see if they go to the right side and try to get him into the end zone by way of the run. Pompey has it, and he's in. Touchdown, FAMU. Pompey with his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
Charlie, we're going to let you be the offensive coordinator also. Sound like you called that play. Good job by Pompey getting into the end zone. Of course, we have a ball game here. never expected FAMU to give up. These guys have been resilient all year, so even though they were down 17-0, you knew they were going to make a run at it.
For the point after. Taylor, the kick is up. And it is good. Make it 17-10. Pompey with the run. Let's look at it once again. Rashard Pompey, whose father played at Florida A&M, takes it in for 6. Rashard Pompey, the grad school student, has given his team an opportunity here. Has pulled them closer with the 1-yard run. 17-10 is our score. Ricky Williams back to receive this kick. Brings it out from the 4. Trying to get to the corner. Trying to reverse his field, and he's going to be swarmed under at the 10-yard line. He made a mistake that time, and the swarm was led by Elgin Anderson. Let's go down to Jay Walker.
Well, we should have known that the senior class of Florida A&M was going to put up a fight in their final Florida Classic. We've already talked about how the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats have won the previous 3. Well, this is a resilient group, and they've been through a lot. They've gone through coaching changes, violations, a move from Division I AA to Division I, back to Division I AA. But the most important thing to this team right now is to not, I repeat, to not be the only Rattlers class to never taste victory over Bethune-Cookman College. Guys, back up to you.
Yeah, the seniors, they came in here 4 years ago, and they have yet to win against Bethune. In fact, no other school has ever beaten Bethune, Florida A&M, I should say, in the history, 4 straight years of anything in terms of football. And the last 5 games, as P.J. Smith got the carry that time. Here it is, 58-52 a year ago, a 6-point affair, 4 points the year before, 37-10 in 2002. Alan Suber got hurt before that game, and Lawrence McLeod came in and got the MVP award. He's the backup quarterback now here at Bethune. Florida A&M won the previous 2, 41-21, and see the scores over the last 5 years. It is 2nd down. Russell throws. Darius Butler. Let's see, is it complete? They're calling it incomplete. Hit the ground. The side judge came in and said, no way.
Emphatically, no way. You can see Coach White, we talked about him winning 3 games in a row. Of course, the first time ever against Florida A&M, and we said, well, maybe it's going to be easier to win this 4th one. He said it would be twice as hard because you have all of those FAMU kids who don't want to go out as seniors, losing 4 straight games to Bethune-Cookman. And of course, that's never been done in the history of FAMU football. They have 100 years of FAMU football this year. So in all that time, they've never lost 4 in a row against Bethune-Cookman. You don't want to be the first senior class to give that up.
Discounted off before the play clock went down. Here's Jimmy Russell trying to get to the first down marker. He gets there with Moore and still on his feet and gets out to the 35-yard line. Jimmy Russell with a good run there. 21 yards on the run for Jimmy Russell before Sam Dowdy finally corralled him.
Good play by Jimmy Russell. No one was open downfield. He realizes, hey, I can win with my legs also. Just makes one guy miss and gets down the field. Coach says he's frail, but I don't know how frail he is. He seems pretty tough to me.
34 yards for him on 5 carries so far today. P.J. Smith, the lone setback in the backfield. P.J. has the ball, or is it Russell keeping the ball and picking up 5 out to the 40-yard line? Russell stopped by Darius Fountain.
Bethune-Cookman had a couple passes here and there. They had an interception in this game, and Jimmy Russell almost threw a second one. Now I think Coach White is going to say, hey, we're a wide-bone running attack team. Let's run the football. We don't need to get cute and do a lot of passes and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Let's keep the ball in Jimmy Russell's hands. Let him make the decision on the perimeter whether he throws or pitches.
2nd down, and when Bethune played Hampton, they had the 14th best offense in the nation. They said there's a mix-up. Here we go. P.J. Smith on the carry. He's going to be about a yard shy of a first down and to bring up third down. And one of the things that Coach was concerned about was that Weems didn't touch the ball enough. And, of course, you've got to have him involved in this triple option offense for it to be effective.
Yes, I mean, Weems is the A-back, so he's the guy. It's almost like a tailback, but he can also catch the ball as far as receiving also. But a lot of times he's the guy, when they're actually pitching, he's the guy who'll be receiving that pitch. And if you can get Weems on a perimeter in a one-on-one situation with a cornerback or a linebacker, he's extremely dangerous, and he can make people miss.
Third down and 1. P.J. Smith, he gets the first down right across the 45-yard line. And going back to that game against Hampton University, Jimmy Russell had 83 yards in that game, but 56 of those yards came in the first quarter, 37 on one play. But he also threw a crucial fourth quarter interception that led to a Hampton touchdown, and they held Weems to just 4 yards on one run.
I mean, you have to stop Weems first, I think, and then you can concentrate on Jimmy Russell. But Weems is a guy that can beat you in so many different ways. And Jimmy Russell does a good job of just making the correct decision. Do I give it to the fullback? Do I keep it? Do I pitch it to Weems? But you don't want him to get in a situation where he has to pass the ball 25, 30 times a game. You want to pass when you want to, meaning that you can set up the play action, but not when you're dictated and you have to pass in third and long situations.
So they're going to measure. I thought he had enough for a first down, and they were going to bring the chains out to make sure. And he does have the first down. You know, we're talking about not passing the ball. We talked about Alan Suber and Patel Trotman, the last real passing quarterback that put up some impressive numbers at Bethune-Cookman was a young man by the name of Bernard Hawk back in the 82 to 85 season. And he threw for 56 touchdowns, 7,737 yards, and they won the MEAC title. And Larry Little was coaching that team back then. We talked to him earlier. First down and 10, straight ahead, P.J. Smith.
Yeah, but I don't think Coach Wyatt, I mean, that was a great quarterback, but he doesn't want those type of guys anymore. Remember, we talked to him, you know, how do you find these option quarterbacks? There's the guys that run an option, you know, back when they were in high school. And now he said he just looks for real good athletes at the quarterback position. And most of the times it's guys who wouldn't have a chance to play quarterback at a Division I school. So he would tell them, hey, come to Bethune-Cookman. We're 1AA, but I'll let you keep playing quarterback. Right. And that's what happens with a lot of the quarterbacks that he recruits, because he's had some good ones.
He certainly has. Here's the option to the left. And Russell keeps it, but there's a penalty marker down. There's a first down gained to the 40 of FAMU. But let's see if this penalty marker will be nullifying this good run by the quarterback, Jimmy Russell.
Good decision by Jimmy Russell on keeping that football. He didn't have anyone who was going to challenge him at the point of attack. He kind of juked a little bit like he was going to pitch it and just turned upfield.
Last year, Jimmy Russell was 700.
Block, low to waist. Number 13 on the offense. 15 yards. Repeat. Second down.
One of the receivers, Richard Woodbury, guilty of the infraction. Meanwhile, we talked about Jimmy Russell a year ago, 720 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ran for 361 yards and 3 touchdowns. This year, 1,590 yards, 16 touchdowns. It gave him over, well, and one today gives him 17 touchdowns and 23, or make it 24 for his career. And, of course, this year, Bethune has done a good job in scores by quarters. They had outscored their opponents coming into today's game 109 to 61. Averaging big points over their opponents this year. First half, they've outscored their opponents 191 to 120. But today, 17 points in the first half. They came in averaging 36 points a game. It is second down. Ball at the 36-yard line. They have to get to the 44 of FAMU for a first down. Russell has an open field in front of him. And he's quick. He takes off, turns the corner, still on his feet, and finally out of bounds, but gets the first down. What a run.
Great run. Another penalty at the end of the play. Jimmy Russell, I mean, just making all the right decisions, not only on a triple option, but he's a running threat even when he's in the pocket. No one's open immediately, so hey, do the next best thing. Get out of the pocket. Make somebody miss. Coming up the field, sideline. One more fake to get out of bounds, and also gets the late hit penalty.
It was a personal foul, late hit against FAMU. So not only was it a 17-yard run that gained them a first down, tackle on 15 more yards, and that moves the ball deep into Florida A&M territory.
That's been FAMU's problem throughout the year. They've been giving up a lot of big plays. They'll be consistent, playing good defense for 10 or 12 plays, and all of a sudden get a 20 or 30-yard gain. And when you add that 15-yard penalty and tack it on to the end of that run, this is over a 30-yard change in field position. 84
yards a game is what FAMU was averaging in penalties coming into the contest, compared to 58 for Bethune-Cookman. I should say Bethune 83. So they both a lot of penalties. Here's Jimmy Russell, and he's brought down right at the 25-yard line after a gain of about 3 yards on the play. That was Darius Fountain on the stop defensively. Fountain out of Moss Point, Mississippi. They talk about his size. He's a linebacker. He comes in at about 225, but he really has the ability to find the running back, as we have a player shaken up right at the 30-yard line. Last game of the season for both of these squads, and of course for the seniors on both of these teams, their last collegiate game. So you know how it was to be a senior. You want to go out on top. Let's go down to Jay Walker. Jay, he's in the middle of some probably good activity, right, Jay?
Oh, you talk about halftime. You know how they do it at Black College. And when you talk about halftime festivities here at the Disney Florida Classic, our viewers are going to have the privilege of seeing the 2 largest bands in all of Black College football. Talking about the pride from Bethune-Cookman College. When they travel everybody, they can load up as many as 375 members in the band. Not to be outdone, the Marching 100 of Florida A&M. Why are they called Marching 100? I'm trying to figure that out, because when they bring everybody, they travel over 325 people. It's going to be an exciting halftime, as it always is when you talk about the Disney Florida Classic.
Well, the halftime is always something to behold. You know, one of the things we've noticed, and we were at a couple of them this year ourselves, Eddie, where the fans spend a lot of time outside until it's time for the bands to come and perform at halftime, and then the stadium fills up.
It's usually tailgate, then you come straight in at halftime, then you watch the second half of the game.
Here's P.J. Smith going straight ahead. Not much doing for him there. A couple.
And the thing about this wide bone attack that's so hard to defend, talking with the coaches from Florida A&M, is that you can make the right decision 5 or 10 straight plays in a row. You can have the fullback, the quarterback in a pitch, but one time you have a linebacker who's supposed to have the quarterback and he doesn't take him. And you have one breakdown, one mental error on the play, and then it can be a big gain on the edges. So you just have to be extremely disciplined on every play, and you have to always be a good tackling team, of course.
Jimmy Russell in trouble, and he will not get away this time. Coming down with good defensive pressure was O'Brien. O'Brien Brandy.
Nice time blitz from FAMU. A lot of teams like the blitz once you get into that 20-yard line area. When you're in the red zone, you try to knock you out of field goal position, which they probably did. And Jimmy Russell didn't have anywhere to go, but they're still going to try a field goal. It's going to be a long one.
51 yards is what this one will be if Bethune can put this one through. The longest field goal this year was a 50-yarder against Morgan State. So the capability is there. It's long enough. It's good. 51 yards from Mr. Cortez. Jesus, the junior from Fort Meade, Florida. His longest this year. Now let's go back to Mike Hall in the studio.
Charlie, coming up at halftime, you heard Jay talk about the bands. We'll be sure to get you back out there for the Battle of the Bands. But we'll also come back here in the studio and look at everything going on in the Big Ten. Ohio State and Michigan ended up being an instant classic. We'll show you why. Also, Joe Paterno trying to get himself a Big Ten title. We'll give you the latest updates on that with Steve Israel at halftime.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Look forward to halftime activities from you. But Mr. Cortez, who had a 50-yarder earlier this year, And now kick the 51-yarder in this one to pull his team to a 20-10 advantage.
Good job by Mr. Cortez. I mean, I didn't think they were going to line up and attempt a 51-yard. Of course, Coach Wyatt has a lot of confidence in Cortez. And like you said, BCC is now up 20-10. So we'll see what old Roosevelt Kaiser can do in his return game for Florida A&M.
That was the 4th longest field goal in school history for Bethune-Cookman College. Alvin Wyatt trolling the sideline. You know, last year he was after the game, and it was so much activities in the overtime and the 110 points between the two schools that he collapsed in the dressing room afterward from dehydration. Well, they said it's not going to happen this year. They've assigned a young lady, a senior, who's a computer science major, to make sure he has plenty of fluids in his body. Her name is Nicole Brown. And this one, does it go out of bounds?
Yes, it does.
It goes out of bounds. So let's check out some other activity happening here over at Disney.
Over at the Disney MGM Studios, the happiest celebration on earth is in high gear as engines rev, tires squeal, and motorcycles fly through the air. It's all-out action that's right before your eyes at Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show.
I can't wait. I'd like to get in that and drive myself.
And Charlie, I've ridden with you before. I know how you drive, so
right up my alley, right?
They probably would let you drive.
From their own 35, 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining before halftime, and FAMU trailing by 10. First down and 10. Driscoll is in, letting it fly down the right sideline, incomplete. Hayward, the intended receiver that time. Driscoll. The last time Florida A&M had the ball. And they take it down the field.
Yeah, just a couple plays here. Pompey, they have to keep Pompey involved. Of course, that was the big throw to Taj Jenkins, the tight end. Slant route took it down to the 2-yard line, and Pompey finished it off with a touchdown. Pompey has to still stay active and be involved in this game and get some touches also.
It is second down and 10 from Driscoll, who's rallied this team the last 3 games, and he fires a bullet that's complete for first down to Roosevelt Kaiser out to the 46-yard line. He suffered from a groin injury, that is Driscoll, that came against Howard. He was glad he got into the game a week ago against Hampton University. Missed 5 games this year with a groin injury. First down and 10. Throws a little quick pass out in the flat to Kaiser again, and Kaiser is stopped this time again by Nick Oliver, who's been busy in that secondary so far this afternoon.
You better be careful with Roosevelt Kaiser. I mean, this is a guy, you can't tackle him inside a phone booth. He's on that sideline catching those little 5-yard hitches, but he can easily make that cornerback miss and take it to the end zone.
Well, you call that run after catch as we look at what the quarterbacks have done in the game so far. Rushing Driscoll for -9 yards rushing. Chester, you see what he's done. These are the 2 FAMU quarterbacks. They played both of them today. This one's overthrown. The receiver looked like he gave up and didn't run his route out, and that was Aubrey Parrish, the junior from Palm Beach, Florida, whose mom happened to be a graduate of Bethune-Cookman College. Her mom calls herself a wild rat on a day like today. That's a combination of a wildcat and a rattler.
As long as we don't have one here in the booth, I'm okay. That sounds pretty ferocious.
Arlene Daniels, that's Aubrey Parrish's mom. She graduated from Bethune. She says the BCC for her stands for Beat Coach Carter. Third down. Incomplete.
I'm sure she's in one of those situations where she wants her son to do well and score a touchdown, but don't win the game. Don't score the winning touchdown.
Now, do you go for it on 4th down here? It's 4th and 4. The ball is across midfield. It's down to 2:07. The clock stopped on that incomplete pass.
I think you have a lot of football left to play. I mean, you're only down 10 points. You don't want to give them a short field. And, of course, they just kicked a 51-yard field goal, so you know Bethune-Cookman's kicker has the legs to make a kick if you let him cross that 50-yard line.
MCL sprain is the word on Corey Counsell right now. So that's blocked.
Block kick.
And it goes out of bounds. So the kick is blocked. That is blocked by Stephen Walker. He got to the punt by Wesley Taylor. That's the third punt he's had blocked this year.
Well, that was just a great individual play by Stephen Walker right there. He just beat this guy on a one-on-one move. It wasn't anything spectacular. He's out of Fort Lauderdale, St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
So we had a block punt here with 2 minutes to go. Bethune-Cookman with the ball. First down and 10 at the 25-yard line for Bethune-Cookman. Here's the option. Here's the late pitch. Should say the quarterback waited a little bit too long, I believe. Russell, that time before, he pitched the ball back to Weems. Don't forget ESPNU's coverage of college football continues tonight at 7 Eastern. Alabama A&M, the Bulldogs look to avoid a late season letdown. They take on the Prairie View A&M Panthers, trying to get their first winning season in quite a while. The SWAC East champion Bulldogs battle for the SWAC West champion Grambling Tigers also, and that'll be the SWAC championship December 10th. That'll be shown on ESPN Classic. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. Russell with time, has room in front of him, takes off, cuts it back to the middle of the field, has the angle and slips down inside the 20 at about the 18-yard line. They'll mark it at the 19.
So hard to stop a quarterback like Jimmy Russell. I mean, they have good coverage down the field. You can see he's looking for guys. Nobody's coming open. And then all of a sudden he just takes off running and turns into a running back. So hard to defend for the defenders. You can see the guys are covering. You get a good pass rush. One guy gets out of his lane and everything just breaks down. Now it's helter-skelter is like a punt return, and he can really make people miss.
47 seconds before halftime. The option again. And he's going to be sandwiched back at the 23. Lost about 3 yards or 4 on that play. And now Bethune uses its last timeout with 28 seconds to go. FAMU still has 2 remaining. But more importantly, Alvin Wyatt's team now trying to figure out how to convert and what they should do on 4th down. He himself played professional football. He played at Bethune-Cookman College from 66 to 69. Then was drafted by the Oakland Raiders in 70, but played 3 years with the Buffalo Bills, as you see here. And he still holds the Bethune-Cookman College record with interceptions in a career, 34. And a punt return average for the season of an average of 35.6. When you can return punts on an average of 35.6, we're not talking about kickoffs. We're talking about punts. That's a lot of yards.
I mean, usually the punter doesn't kick it but 35 yards. I mean, you're pretty much taking them to the house every time you touch it.
This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt. He's already hit a 50, and this one is good with 23 seconds to go before half. Cortez with his 3rd field goal of the afternoon. He's hit from 33, 51, and 29. Well, 39. 39-yard field goal.
Reuben Carter has to get FAMU going again. I mean, they were down 17-0. They were cut it to 17-10. Couple field goals by Cortez, so the lead has been extended again.
Cortez opened the scoring with that 33-yard field goal. It was 10-0 before Russell made it 17-0. Taylor got FAMU on the board with a 45-yard field goal. Pompey with a run made it 17-10. Cortez has scored the last 6 points of this game, 51 and 39 yards out. Let's go down to Jay Walker.
Talk about Coach Carter and the success he's had. He's one of the few guys that made it to the Super Bowl with 2 different head coaches. Of course, he played for the Denver Broncos. He went there as a rookie with Red Miller as his head coach, and then he also got back there with Dan Reeves. He said from Coach Dan Reeves, he learned structure. From Red Miller, he learned motivation. I think he's going to need some Red Millerisms when he goes into the locker room with the Rattlers down by 13. Fellas, back to you.
Yes, indeed. He also said he learned attention to detail from Dan Reeves and how to evaluate talent from John Roster and how to motivate players from Herm Edwards. So he's been around some great people.
That's what you have to do. When you're around a lot of great coaches like that, you just take a little bit from each one, and it kind of helps you to develop you into the type of coach that you want.
Stick on the ground. Here's Kaiser. He's going to keep it going down the right sideline and out of bounds in front of the FAMU bench with 15 seconds to go before halftime. We were talking about Cortez. It's the first time or second time in his career that he has kicked 3 field goals in a contest. So, and he has an opportunity to even better that. And, you know, you're talking about your last game, and, you know, of course, Cortez is just a junior. He'll be back next year, but you always want to go out with a bang.
I always want to end up on a good note. And even when you're ending the season, getting ready for next year, Coach Carter and White still want to win this game. Transition to next year.
Driscoll fumbles. Still on the ground. Finally picked up by FAMU, and they gained 3 yards on the fumble. It was Johnson who came up with it. And that's going to be the end of the first half. The Disney Florida Classic, the 26th edition. And it's been basically all Bethune-Cookman in this first half. And as they go to the locker room, 23-10, Bethune-Cookman on top of Florida A&M. Now let's go to the studio and Mike Hall.
Welcome to the U, presented by Allstate. The U is presented by Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series.
Let's listen in with Charlie Neal now for the Disney Florida Classic Battle of the Bands.
Florida A&M, we're at halftime, the Marching 100. They've been credited for not less than 30 innovative techniques, and ranking high among the many proud traditions of Florida A&M University is the Marching 101 under the present director, Dr. Julian Foster, who took over for longtime director, Dr. William P. Foster, who retired after 2003. So let's go down and enjoy the Florida A&M Marching 100.
band formation. 3 letters. S-W-V.
The Florida A&M marching 100 under the direction of Dr. Julian White. We're at halftime of the Disney Florida Classic. Back with more in a moment.
Games, Moto X Bike, ride Moto X style.
They are legit.
It's Feast Week on ESPNU, and it's an all-you-can-watch buffet of great games and top teams.
He's a three-point shooter.
First, some of the nation's best go man-to-man at the EA Sports Maui Invitational.
It's his night.
Then catch the action from the Guardians Classic.
He loves to get in the lane and drive. There it is.
Top it off with an ACC matchup between Cleveland State and North Carolina. A full day of hoops begins Tuesday at 1:30 on ESPNU.
Back here at halftime, Bethune-Cookman with the 13-point advantage over Florida A&M right down the scoreboard, and we're going to soon find out who wins the Battle of the Bands. Let's see if Florida A&M won by 3 tubas or Bethune is going to win by 3 drum majors.
I tell you what, I mean, these bands are so exciting. You can't take a break at halftime.
And the Wildcats, boy, they're pulling out all of the stops.
Wow, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, this is new. Let's stay here and talk a little bit about what we're seeing.
Looks like we have 4 quarter horses coming on here.
They said they were going to ride Florida A&M like the Lone Ranger rode Silver. Well, I'll tell you, I love the competitiveness and the camaraderie, and the horses are out on the field. The marching Wildcats, 256 strong, which includes the corps of instrumentalists, the sophisticated flag corps, and the 14-karat gold dancers. And in the 6 years, the director of bands is Donovan Wells. Let's listen to the Bethune-Cookman College marching Wildcats, better known as the Pride.
If you love Luther, raise your hand and make some noise. I'm the director. I'm Mr. Down the Hill. In the ring with by JJK, Luther, Wildcats. It's time to make it do what it do, baby. Let's go, Wildcats.
Bethune-Cookman. The Bethune-Cookman College Marching Wildcats, the pride.
What do Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Steve McNair, and John Stallworth have in common? They are some of the NFL's biggest stars, and they emerged from the best-kept secret in college football. Historically black colleges and universities. ESPNU is the leader in HBCU football. Every week, experience the competition, the marching bands, and the excitement that is HBCU football. Watch the Turkey Day Classic as Tuskegee takes on Alabama State. Thanksgiving Day at 2 Eastern, only on ESPNU.
Scholarly research and community service. Our members represent the foundation for producing many of tomorrow's future leaders. On the playing field or in the classroom, the MEAC is continuing its proud tradition of academic and athletic excellence.
23-10 is our halftime score as we get ready for the second half. Charlie Neal along with Eddie Robinson. And Eddie, you look at the halftime show, we talk about how important it is for these fans to see these halftime bands. Who you thought won? Who do you think won the halftime show?
I would have to give it to Bethune-Cookman. They have their patented "Let's Go Wildcats" fight song, and of course the 14-karat gold dancers. Is hard to argue with that.
It certainly is. For the second half, how do you look at things?
Well, I think Bethune-Cookman has a chance to extend the lead because they have the ball first. But, of course, FAMU, if they can get Rashard Pompey going and get him moving, they can dip into this lead and still make this a contest.
All right, well, Bethune-Cookman will get the ball to start the second half. And they're bringing it back up the field, and they will start at their own 26-yard line, make it to 27 after the return. So Bethune-Cookman leading in this ball game by a score of 23-10. Let's look at some of the first half highlights from today's contest. A couple of touchdowns by Bethune-Cookman. There's
Bethune-Cookman working that triple option right there.
Council.
Yes, and Jimmy Russell on the triple option here, he just decided to keep it and snuck it on in the end zone. Nobody really saw him. Rashard Pompey, of course.
And here's the 51-yard field goal by Cortez. 23-10 is our score. First down and 10. And they keep the ball and go straight ahead for maybe a yard or two. Second half just getting underway. Some first half statistics and see what jumps out at you. First of all, I guess the total yards, Bethune-Cookman 244 to 184.
Of course, that's the biggest thing, but the rushing yards also. I mean, Bethune-Cookman doing what they do best. Of course, they rank in the top 10 nationally in 1AA in rushing, and that's what they want to do, control this game on the ground.
Jimmy Russell rolling right, throwing back in the middle, and completing it to Woodbury. Woodbury stopped by Darius Fountain.
Dangerous pass by Jimmy Russell, but he was able to sneak it in there between two of the FAMU defenders.
First half, you look at Jimmy Russell, only 2 of 9 in the passing department. An interception, and that was good for 35 yards. Weems had a big one. But they're not known as a passing team. And the fullback gets to carry that time. They call him the B-back, Chauncey Hampton, out of Sanford, Florida. He had touchdowns this year against Norfolk, Hampton, and Howard. 3 to his credit for the season.
You know, we were talking with Coach Wyatt. He was trying to explain to us the Wyatt bone because he said it's not a wishbone. He gets mad you call it a wishbone. It's not a wing T, it's the Wyatt bone. Of course, he said he has a LA and the RA, which is the 2 A-backs, the B-backs. Then he said the Wyatt is the 5 people across the front of the line, W-Y-A-T-T. So it's definitely a Wyatt bone offense, his own creation.
It certainly is. Jimmy Russell. And he loses yards back to the 36-yard line. There to stop him was Vernon Wilder.
Now you can see Vernon Wilder. I mean, here's the A-back right here, and that's the RA and the fullback right here, and then you have W-Y-A-T-T, if my spelling is correct. and that's how you get the Wyatt bone.
And that actually the fullback is not a fullback. They call him the B-back.
Right, he's the B-back.
Because that's for Wyatt's middle name.
Exactly.
Alvin B. Wyatt.
You're correct. And if you call it a wishbone, the coach gets upset. It's really not a wishbone. It's his own creation. It's been highly effective over the years.
2nd and 13. Russell wants to go to the air. Lets it fly. Wings the intended receiver. He comes down with it. Boy, he outfought 2 defenders downfield and came back on a pass that was short and made the reception.
Of course, you're going to have some play action. We said that Bethune-Cookman isn't known for passing the ball, but hey, Jimmy Russell with the play action, setting up the safeties, going deep. doesn't mind throwing in the deep double coverage because he knows that number 5 Weems is definitely a playmaker. You can see he just out-jumps both of the FAMU defenders and hauls that pass in. Weems, highly spirited guy, can run, catch, do everything with the football.
30 yards on the catch by Eric Weems. His second catch of the afternoon. The first one was good for 26. 1st and 10 at the 19 of FAMU for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman College. Jimmy Russell has them poised to strike once again. Russell on the option. Flips it out to Weems. Weems is going to lose yards. The defense was there. And again, it was Darius Fountain who was there to defend.
Now that was supposed to be a lateral, but he just turned around and improvised and still considered a lateral. However, it was an overhead pass, a forward pass.
Well, he was in trouble. He had to get rid of it.
Yeah, get it out of my hand. I mean, these big guys are coming to get me. Feeling a little caged in here. And Weems, he seems to always know where Weems is at. If it's a drop back pass, he finds Weems. If it's an option play and he's in trouble, he still finds Weems also.
Tyrone McGriff, the man who's shaken up on the play. Tyrone McGriff, along with Rashard Pompey and Albert Chester, their dads all played on the 1978 championship team, that first ever 1AA playoff. And at halftime, there was a check presentation by Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Mickey is going without the face mask.
And they're the 2 presidents of the 2 fine institutions. There to receive the big check on behalf of Disney. And these schools, we talked about how important this game is to them, will get approximately in excess of $1.2 million apiece with all the donations from the sponsors and Disney World and part of the gate receipts and all of the money that's garnered from this particular game. So you see how big it is for these schools in terms of their budgets.
I mean, if you look at the attendance, I mean, well over 70,000 every year. I mean, the last couple of years, it's just a great event, and it's well supported by the community here in Orlando and by Disney and a lot of other sponsors. They just do a really good job of getting behind these 2 schools, and they put on a great show. I mean, the halftime show and HBCU football is more than just a football game. I mean, you have all the different activities that goes along with it, the band, and everybody is represented. It's just a real family atmosphere here.
Well, while we have a moment there, as we see Mr. McGriff going off a little clear this week as the 1AA pitcher. Hampton University will represent the MEAC in the 1AA playoffs. Now, South Carolina State has to come up big. At last report, they were losing to North Carolina A&T, something they can ill afford to do if they're going to go on to be the second team, possibly getting an at-large bid. The clincher for South Carolina State this week was to beat North Carolina A&T convincingly. As you look at the top 5 there, New Hampshire, Hampton, Montana, Furman, Texas State, and then South Carolina State's trying to get in as the number 15 ranked school this week. Hampton should get the top seed in their region, provided they beat Savannah State, which I understand that game is over, and they had making this 40-something to 6, the final score there. It is 2nd down. Here's the option to the right. Russell keeps it, spins inside down to the 21-yard line. Goes Jimmy Russell.
It would be great for the MEAC conference if you can get 2 schools, and of course they have that at-large bid with Hampton doing extremely well. In South Carolina State, their only 2 losses are one to Hampton and also to Coastal Carolina, which is also a ranked team. So they're in a position where if they can get into the playoffs, I think they can also represent the conference well.
They certainly can. Last time they had, I believe, 2 schools in the playoffs was 2003. That was when North Carolina A&T and Bethune both went to the 1AA playoffs. Of course, FAMU went to the first ever. They beat UMass for the championship, 35-28. They beat Jackson State in the first round, 15-10. Rudy Hubbard was the coach of that 78 team. 10:42 is the time remaining. We're in the 3rd quarter. And there's a timeout on the field. And we'll take one. We're at the Disney Florida Classic. Bethune-Cookman has been in control, 23-10. And we'll be back.
What do Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Steve McNair, and John Stallworth have in common? They are some of the NFL's biggest stars, and they emerged from the best-kept secret in college football. Historically black colleges and universities. ESPNU is the leader in HBCU football. Every week, experience the competition, the marching bands, and the excitement that is HBCU football. Watch the Turkey Day Classic as Tuskegee takes on Alabama State. Thanksgiving Day at 2 Eastern, only on ESPNU.
23-10 our score here in the third quarter, 10:42 the time remaining. And we talk about Jimmy Russell. I asked Coach Wide to compare Jimmy Russell with Patel Trotman and Alan Suber, and he said, you know, when you try to compare them, he needs a little more weight. He's not as quick. He's a little more injury prone, but Troutman put Bethune on the map. Suber was so quick. He was the better passer and ran a 4.340. And here's a sack by FAMU's O'Brien Brandy.
Brandy came into the game with 4 sacks and interception, 78 total tackles. So he's a very active guy all over the field. He's usually like the rover player. Doesn't really get blocked a whole lot. The guy coming into the box. So when you play in that position, you have to be tough because you're going to get a lot of opportunities to make plays. And he does a good job of taking advantage of his opportunities.
8th leading tackler in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. And now Cortez to try to do something he's never done in a career, and that is kick 4 field goals in a contest. Now Bethune had to use a timeout because it was 10 seconds left when the special teams kicking team or the field goal unit ran onto the field. They were going to get a delay of game penalty. Now the ball, remember, he's kicked a 51-yarder in this game. The ball is spotted at the 32. It'll be a 49-yard field goal attempt. So far today, Mr. Cortez has hit from 33 yards out. He's hit from 51 and 39. This one will be from 49. And they've got the wave going here in the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. And you talk about the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and we looked at Pompey from Florida A&M and what he needs to become the 8th 3,000-yard rusher in conference history and the 3rd at FAMU. And he's like 58 yards away from getting those 79 yards he needs. Harvey Reed from Howard University back in the 84-87 era is the all-time leading rusher in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference with over 4,000 yards. And you look at Alonzo Coleman from Hampton. Right now, he has 3,458 yards. And if he stays healthy, he'll surpass the 4,100 yards put up by Harvey Reed. Right now, we'll make it a 50-yard field goal. It's got the distance. No good. Off to the left. Let's go down to Jay Walker on the sideline.
Hey, we talk about this being a family environment. Well, for one day, households are split in the state of Florida. Joining me now are the Nunn sisters. They're married now, so we got a Jenkins and we got Dixon here. But the Nunn sisters, and they are responsible for helping the attendance figures here at this game. Between these two sisters, they have 23 family members that attend either Bethune-Cookman or Florida A&M. Now, you're the oldest sister. You went to Bethune. How come you couldn't convince your sister to join you?
Because she was younger and she wanted to go away from home, and I went back to school with my children, and I carried my children to Bethune-Cookman.
And what's it like when you're out there cheering for the Rattlers? Where do you encourage your children to go?
Oh, I encourage them to go to FAMU. And, you know, it was instilled in us at a very early age by our parents, the value of education. So whether or not our kids go to FAMU or BCC, as long as they continue their journey towards education.
Now, I know you guys are sisters. I got to ask you, what's your mother? Is your mother a Rattler or is she a Wildcat?
She was a Rattler Wildcat. She was half and half.
I got you. I do have to say this. I know that Bethune-Cookman brought 13 members of your family. FAMU, you only got 10 members here. So I got to say, Bethune-Cookman might have won this battle here. You guys can go to your separate sidelines. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jay. They're wild rats.
And that's what this classic does, Charlie. Yeah. It really splits families. You have guys, they may ride together, but hey, you go to the Bethune-Cookman side, I'm going to the FAMU side, and I'll see you after the game.
No question. You know, one of the things we're looking at FAMU now second down facing them after the 7-yard gain, second down and 3. And one of the things that Reuben Carter talked about coming in, the challenge he faced was getting, first of all, to know the players, getting the job 2 weeks before the season started, and establishing some chemistry and also establishing some discipline. Here's a little pass to Kaiser, broken up very, very nicely by Nick Oliver. And you know, you talk about homegrown recruits. There they are. FAMU 64, Bethune 77. 21 out-of-state students on FAMU's roster, only 10 from Bethune.
And that's really a testament to all of the great players in the state of Florida, especially Bethune-Cookman. When you can have an 87-man roster and 77 of them are in-state.
It is 3rd down and 5. They lost a couple on that last play. Here's a pass to Kaiser's overthrown. And that's one of those headache balls.
And a late flag by the referee.
I want to see what this one's about. This one goes against Bobby Williams, who's been bothered with an ankle. He leads the team with 6 interceptions. And let's see what they call this flag on. And Alvin Wide's beside himself on the sideline.
Well, it's an uncatchable pass.
Personal foul. Hitting defensive receiver. 15 yards. Automatic. First down.
They said he hit a defenseless receiver because the ball was no way going to be caught. And I guess maybe you have a point there as you look at Bobby Williams with his 6 interceptions. And we talked about the great ones that played in that secondary for Bethune. Rasheem Mathis, who's now with Jacksonville, and Nick Collins, who's a member of the Green Bay Packers. And I asked him to compare him, and he said he's going to be another good one. He just doesn't have the speed that Nick and Rasheem have. Going back to the near side again, the defense has been relentless for Bethune-Cookman. Rashad Pompey can't get away from Torian Charles.
Yeah, but with Bobby Williams, here's a guy who has 6 interceptions, and he's only a sophomore from Miami, Florida. So that's 2nd and 1 AA, along with 7 pass breakups. So you're right. He's going to be a real good player. And lately, Bethune-Cookman has been putting out a lot of good players in that secondary. Of course, Coach White, also a guy who played cornerback in the NFL and punt returner. So you would expect them to have a lot of emphasis on defensive back play.
It is 2nd down, 2nd and 10. Chester, pump fake, decides to take off, has a little run, and he's inside the 25. First down at the 23-yard line for the quarterback, Albert Chester, and it was Rodney Hughes, the linebacker, who finally came up and made the stop defensively.
Yeah, the good pump fake. You can see he moves the safety, but hey, nobody's buying on the pump fake. Just tuck the ball down and take off. I mean, it's always a benefit to the offense when you can have a mobile quarterback, a guy who can make something happen outside of the scheme and design of the play.
Rodney Hughes, who made the stop out of Austell, Georgia, 9th leading tackler in the conference. 1st and 10, though, for Florida A&M. From the shotgun, Chester again decides to scramble away. Now he's not going to get away from Oliver. Or was that Charles? Torian Charles, the linebacker. The middleman, transferred from Florida. Great story on him. He was part of the documentary Year of the Bull, and they say that he makes everybody around him better. Let's go down. After this play, we'll talk to Jay Walker a little bit more on Torian Charles, a young man out of Miami, Florida, went to Northwestern High down there, 6th leading tackler in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. It's 2nd down and 17. Chester, he tried the little dink pass. And let's go down to Jay.
Charlie, talk about Torian Charles being from Miami's Northwestern High School. Well, they did a documentary that was featured on Showtime called The Year of the Bull, in which he was one of the star players. It talked about overcoming adversity. You see, his senior year, he was an All-American in the state of Florida and the United States, but he got paralyzed for 2 games, but managed to come back, get on the field, and still get a scholarship offer to the University of Florida. Well, that story there caught the attention of a Pop Warner football team in Grand Prairie, Texas, and they became his biggest fan club following his story throughout the years. And he said after this game is over, he's going to sign the football for him and send it down to Grand Prairie, Texas to support his fans.
You know, that's a great story. It certainly is. But the stop after the completion to Woodbury.
Of course, when you talk about Torian Charles, I mean, Coach Wise says he's a guy who he feels like can play on Sunday. He's a good-looking kid. But here we just see a nice rollout by Albert Chester. The receivers running the comeback route.
This will be a 37-yard field goal attempt. Make it a 38-yard field goal attempt. This one has the distance. And it is good. So Wesley Taylor, after missing a 46-yarder earlier and having a punt block, puts this one through from 38 yards out. It's a 10-point ball game. 5:45 left in the third.
And College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Big thrills await you at the Disney MGM Studios. Board a Phantom elevator that shoots up 13 stories and plummets faster than gravity on the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Just one of the many thrills for you and your family here at Walt Disney World.
And we're at the Disney Florida Classic in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl for this 26th edition. As we look at Taylor, who just kicked the 49-yard field goal, 39-yard field goal rather, kicking off. Turn man decides he's going to down it in the end zone. And the Division I AA playoffs. This is the way it stands right now. That's on the minds of everybody, especially South Carolina State and the Commissioner Dennis Thomas, who's with our Jay Walker right now.
Well, Commissioner, you see the stat there. How important is it for the MEAC Conference to get two teams into the 1AA playoffs?
Well, it's very important. We think we have two deserving teams. Our conference champion, Hampton University, went undefeated in the conference, and South Carolina State went 9-2. So we think both of them are very deserving.
You talk about the MEAC Conference. How important is this Disney Florida Classic in terms of recognition and getting all this exposure?
No question about it. We have 72,000 people here in the Citrus Bowl. It just does a great deal for the conference and it shows the world of the kind of support we have from not only our alumni fans, but also corporate America.
Yeah, it probably gives something here like your mascot, something to celebrate. You get two teams in there.
No question. We have Miyake here. That's the conference mascot. He might be the only conference mascot in the country.
Look at that. MEAC Conference, all about coming up with creative marketing schemes. Charlie, Eddie, back to you.
All right, out to the 25 or 45-yard line, a 25-yard run by Quincy Hampton, the fullback, and he took one of the defenders for a ride before he was brought down. Let's go to the studio and Mike Hall for an update. Mike.
Charlie, I'm seeing if we have an ESPNU mascot. We'll get back to you on that. Meanwhile, Penn State, Michigan State. We think the Spartans are out of it, right? Don't tell that to Jason Teague, is he? He's bouncing around finding the score.
No doubt. Drew Stanton, these Spartans, they have a very big time offense. They can score points.
And meanwhile, Notre Dame is up and now is over. They have taken down Syracuse 34-10 despite a slight scare early on. They still win, Charlie.
All right. Yeah, we'll get that mascot for you, Mike. That was a second down run. Good for about 3 yards. Again, the fullback or the B-back, Chauncey Hampton, getting the load of Tyrone McGriff, who we saw go out earlier, back in there, and he made the stop defensively.
Yeah, they could really use Tyrone McGriff. He's quite a defensive player. But Bethune-Cookman just doing a good job of keeping the tempo going. Of course, all of the linemen go to the line of scrimmage, and Jimmy Russell goes back with the coach and kind of works things out. And Coach Wide, man, very animated coach, stays into the game. I don't think he can talk once the game is over.
And again, trying to get to the first down marker and coming up a little short. On the run to the left side, there's Jimmy Russell. He's not that big of a kid when we got a chance to stand beside him at practice yesterday, and I mean, he's amazing for his size, what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's an extremely tough kid because in this wide bone attack, I mean, he may run more than any other guy on the field, and he has to be able to make the decision and take the big hits. When he throws those pretty pitches to Weems and he takes off around the corner, he's usually taking a big hit, so he has to sacrifice his body for the program.
They're going for it on fourth down. First time today they've tried it. And they get it with nothing. No doubt about it. They run it straight ahead again with Hampton, and Devin Richardson had to make the stop. You know, when you're talking about Jimmy Russell, along with Ricky Williams and Eric Weems, those young men, we didn't think, they did not know whether they were going to be in school and a part of this team this year because of some discipline actions that were taken against them before the last school season ended.
Yeah, a lot of adversity going into the season. And like you said, those guys didn't participate in the spring. They weren't even in school in the spring semester. And so Coach White really didn't know how he would field the team. He said, what would happen if Weems and Jimmy Russell and those guys weren't there? He was like, hey, if we would have won 2 games without those guys, I would be Coach of the Year, because he realized, I mean, that is the heart and soul of his team, Jimmy Russell and Weems.
It certainly is, especially on the offensive side, and what Ricky Williams has been able to do, especially in the return department. It is 1st down and 10. Down at the 43. There's the option. Jimmy Russell trying to go to the right side this time. And there right away was Sammy Dottie, who has an interception in the contest so far. You know, we're talking about Jimmy Russell. He did not even play or dress for the first game, their game against Elizabeth City State University. He was there for the second game, and he came in and relieved McLeod against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They were trailing in that contest 9-7. Then they scored 24 straight points, and one of the reasons was the play of Jimmy Russell, who came in relief of McLeod in the second quarter.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy Russell is definitely the main guy on offense, him and Weems. So for him not to have been there for the entire season would have been a huge blow for Bethune-Cookman.
Russell wants to go to the air this time. Looking for Weems. Intercepted, should have been. In and out of the hands of the defender, Devin Richardson.
And give credit Weems, give him a pass breakup on the play, because if not for him, this would have definitely been interception. Good play action. Weems actually has a step or two on the receiver, but the ball is underthrown, and Devin Richardson almost had a chance to pick it up. But I mean, Weems did the right thing. When you know that it's a bad throw and it's about to get intercepted, don't just stand there and watch. He did a good job of turning to a defensive back and making sure that Richardson wasn't able to haul in that interception.
You see Devin Richardson out of Phoenix, Arizona, went to Chandler High out there. Started his college career at Colorado. He was a running back, and they moved him from running back to the defensive side of the ball a year ago. And you know, he rebounded very nicely from a neck injury that occurred in the preseason camp a few years ago. So Devin Richardson out there showing what he can do. But the penalty has moved the ball all the way back to the 40-yard line. Big penalty against the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman College. 6th penalty of the ball game for them. 2:11 the time remaining in the third quarter. Oh, that was dangerous. Was that a fumble? Picked up. Jonathan Summers. He could make something out of nothing. Oh, the whistle, they whistled everything did. It was an incomplete forward pass. I was going to say, well, at least it got the crowd excited.
I mean, it looked like a forward pass. I mean, it definitely was a forward pass. And I don't know why they let the play go that long. Maybe I don't know, the whistles weren't working.
Well, the whistles were blowing, but I don't think anybody was listening.
Yeah, the guys were still running, but.
So that'll bring up a 4th and a lot of real estate for Bethune-Cookman, about 27 before they could get even to the first down marker. They'll be punting way back around their own 40, and in order to get a first down, they'd have to get down to the 33-yard line. But Roosevelt Kaiser is the deep man back to receive this punt.
Good defensive stand by FAMU right there. Of course, they were aided with the 15-yard penalty against Bethune-Cookman. Now they're in a 4th and long situation. Dangerous return man Kaiser back there.
Only the 2nd punt of the day for Bethune-Cookman College. And for Davis Player, his only punt of the day was a 56-yarder. Player came in averaging 38.2 yards per punt. His previous long was 55 before the day. Second time he's punted this afternoon. Maladruco is the long snapper. They're coming after it. Gets it off. And it rolls dead right at the 16-yard line. So FAMU trailing by 10 with 1:48 to go. A 55-yard punt that time by Davis player. It is first down and 10. When we come back, FAMU will have the ball. We'll take a timeout.
The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, comprised of 11 outstanding academic institutions, was established on the principles of educating and preparing student athletes for the game of life. MEAC institutions have committed themselves to high academic standards, science and technology, scholarly research, and community service. Our members represent the foundation for producing many of tomorrow's future leaders. On the playing field or in the classroom, the MEAC is continuing its proud tradition of academic and athletic excellence.
ESPN brings you a stellar field in the fiercest preseason tourney of the year. The EA Sports Maui Invitational begins Monday at 2:30 on ESPN2.
For the first time ever, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be is on DVD. This 3-disc set is packed with over 10 hours of material. In his own words, Bret Hart relives his life and career from the exhilaration of superstardom to the night his life and wrestling changed forever. Bret Hart.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be.
Available now on DVD and PSP.
Are you a homeowner and need cash? If you're a homeowner, of course you need cash. It's always something, isn't it? Credit card bills, a new roof, add a bath. Call Countrywide Home Loans now. Turn the equity in your home into the cash you need, fast, and get that cash at a great low rate. Call America's #1 home loan lender now. No one can do what Countrywide can. Apply now before rates go up.
Visit your local branch or call 1-800-641-0786.
Epcot is the home to one of the newest attractions at Walt Disney World. On Soarin', feel the exhilarating rush of free flight in a hang glider. You'll fly above breathtaking California landscapes. Soarin' was brought in from Disney's California Adventure for the happiest celebration on Earth, here at the Walt Disney World Resort.
And we're at the Disney Florida Classic in Orlando for this 26th edition, where Bethune-Cookman is leading by a score of 23-13. And Florida A&M with the ball. You know, we mentioned earlier about Harvey Reed being the MEAC's all-time leading rusher. The all-time leading receiver is a product of Florida A&M, Jockway Nunley, who was there from 97 to 2000. He had 318 receptions for 4,245 yards. And now here's Pompey on the carry. And let's go down to Jay Walker on the sideline. Jay?
You know, you talk about having some talented players. Well, you talk about Bethune-Cookman, you know they've got Eric Wings, their A-back / wide receiver. Well, he's been getting some pretty good coaching. One of the volunteer assistant coaches for Alvin White's staff this year is none other than Barry Wagner of arena fame. Not only is he an arena legend, he's won 6 times the Ironman Player of the Year, which is something that they give away to the best two-way player in all of arena football. So I think these Cookman Wildcat receivers can learn a little something from listening to their coach. Back to you.
Certainly can. And this pass down the sideline goes incomplete from Driscoll. There you're looking at Barry Wagner. You know a little bit about him. You played against him in college. He was an Alabama A&M alum, and you went to Alabama State. You used to play in the Magic City against each other every year, right?
Yeah, I talked with Barry. Barry's a good guy. I mean, he was a real tough player. As a collegian, played a couple years with the Chicago Bears, but it really made his mark in the Arena Football League. And he hit us up for like 220 yards one year. He never lets me forget it every time I see him. It was 10 years ago.
He reminded you again yesterday. 3rd down. Pass is caught for a first down. Coming up with the reception is the tight end Ronald Wright, sophomore from Washington High down in Miami, Florida.
You know, as FAMU rotates their quarterbacks in and out, and they've done it once again, and now we have Josh Driscoll in the game, and they really complement each other. Sometimes the 2-quarterback system doesn't work, but they seem to have it, you know, moving pretty good here towards the end of the year, and especially in this game. And both guys have been productive, and they've been in the game.
Driscoll again, flanker screen to Kaiser. Kaiser And it's not even a screen because there's nobody out there blocking for him. It's just that isolation out there, and get it to him and let him do it what he can on his own as Mons made the stop.
Yeah, it's almost like an extension of the running play. I mean, I love it. I mean, a lot of teams are going to this. If the DB is going to play too far off, it's just a quick hitch play, a one-on-one, and then the DB has to make a tackle in open field. And a guy like Kaiser, who's a punt returner, kick returner, can make people miss. Sooner or later, he'll fake that DB out, and he could score on just a 1-yard hitch play.
5 yards on the catch by Kaiser. 2nd down and 5. Here is Pompey trying to get to the first down marker. He'll be about 3 yards shy. They'll spotted at the 41. Host of dark jerseys there on the stop defensively. So it'll be the end of the 3rd quarter here. And as we have 15 minutes of football left in this 26th edition of the Disney Florida Classic, back to Orlando in a minute.
Move Fathead over and over without damaging walls.
Fathead. Go big, go real.
Too big and real for retail stores? Just visit fathead.com to find all of your favorite Fathead teams and players. Officially licensed by the National Football League and Players, Inc. Favre, Manning, Vick, Brady, Urlacher, and Chad Johnson.
Don't I look good?
Visit fathead.com and let Fathead take over your room.
Hey, I'm a fathead.
As we start the 4th quarter here in Orlando, Florida, 23-13 is our score. Florida A&M with the ball with a 3rd down and 2. Empty backfield. The quarterback Driscoll decides to keep it. He's not going to get there.
Yeah, that's a long 2 for Driscoll to try that quarterback sneak. Maybe he thought he saw something.
But it was an empty backfield. It wasn't even a back behind him.
Right.
That he could hand it to if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the quarterback may, see an opening right next to the center or to the nose guard and just kind of take it and try to go real quick and get those 2 yards. But Bethune-Cookman is up to the task once again defensively.
Driscoll's a little upset as he goes to the sideline. This FAMU team, this is the 2nd or 3rd time that they've been in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. He originally joined in 80, left in 83. And the reason they left in 83 was a scheduling dispute with Bethune-Cookman College over this game, I believe, where they were going to play it. And then 5 years later, they returned in 1988, left again in 2003.
Delay game, number 20. Offense, 5 yards. It remains 4th down.
And they came back again this year. And, they had a streak of 92 straight games in which they scored in double figures until they met South Carolina State this year, and South Carolina State held them to 3. And then the following week, they picked up some points, 31 against Norfolk State to start the streak over again. Here's Taylor's punt. Fielded at about the 10-yard line. And out to about the 22. On the return by Coyle Daly. We're at the Disney Florida Classic. It's Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, along with Jay Walker and Eddie Robinson. I'm Charlie Neal. And, you talk about some of the famous people who graduated from Florida A&M. One of them was Althea Gibson. She graduated from Florida A&M back in 1954, played tennis. She played golf. She played basketball. One of the greatest female athletes of all time, and the first African-American to win singles titles at Wimbledon, the French, and the U.S. Open. Also played professional golf in the 60s and early 70s. Althea Gibson, one of the great ones from Florida A&M.
And FAMU, I mean, they're celebrating 100 years of football this year. I mean, just a lot of
tradition.
Yeah, a lot of tradition, a lot of great players to come through the university. Not just great players, but just a lot of great citizens. Good academic programs there also, and Reuben Carter just continuing the tradition of excellence here at FAMU.
Bethune-Cookman came into the game as the #1 team in the nation on having passes intercepted. It only had 3 all season long, as you see the fullback or the B-back Hampton picking up some great yards. And let's go to Mike Hall.
Charlie, an update from Penn State and Michigan State. Drew Stanton trying to get his team back in it, but then again, I don't want your life. picked off by Alan Zamitis. That's bad news. So they turn it around. Penn State up 10. They're going to get the ball. Would you get down, please? Thank you. Michael Robinson looking for Deion Butler. He does it. He's my Butler. It's all about ego. They're up 24-7.
That's all Penn State needs is a win, and they're the Big Ten champs, and they're making a case out of it.
Good to see Joe Paterno getting everything moving in the right direction again.
So we have a discussion. Alvin Wyatt's always in the middle of it.
They're too close to Alvin Wyatt. I mean, they're between the numbers in the sideline where he can hear what they're saying, and they're definitely going to hear what he's saying.
This number 3. Results after the 15-yard penalty will be a first down.
So this must have been a post-possession penalty, and it goes against Bethune-Cookman. They mark it back 15 yards, but they still are going to get the first down as a result of the play.
And Coach Wyatt has a right to be upset. I mean, you can't have those type of penalties in the big game, and they still got the first down, but that's 15 yards of field position. I mean, that's huge. And when you're trying to drive down the field, that's definitely a drive killer.
It's like the JS, the job saver, huh?
The JS. Of course, he realizes the importance of this game, you know, and it's one of these, with these big games, sometimes you can win them, but you have to lose one or two to really understand how big a game this is, and the way the alumni and the people don't like when you lose it.
Trying to go to the left side, Eric Weems trying to turn the corner and get to the first down marker. He's about a yard shy. Weems stopped by Wooten, Chris Wooten. The penalty that they marked it on was a young man who's coming to the game, and Vince Wilson. You got to remember, Corey Counsell went out earlier in the first half with a knee injury, and they diagnosed it as a sprained MCL. We wish him the best. Freshman out of Valdosta, Georgia. It is second down. Second and about 2 for Bethune-Cookman College. And now Jimmy Russell, not liking something he sees, uses Bethune's last timeout. Remember, Florida A&M has all of its timeouts remaining. That is the last timeout in the ball game for Bethune-Cookman College. Alvin Wyatt on the field with Brad Bernard as offensive coordinator. Here's a timeout on the field with 12:28 to go. 10-point ball game in this 26th edition of the Disney Florida Classic.
Coming to historic Legion Field December 10th in Birmingham, Alabama, is the 2005 SWAC Football Championship. The best in the East meets the best in the West in a winner-takes-all showdown. No polls, no computers, no rankings. This one is decided on the gridiron. It all happens Saturday, December 10th at 1 p.m. at Legion Field. Tickets on sale now at all Ticketmaster outlets or visit swac.org.
You love the NFL. You live for the NFL. To you, the NFL is life itself. And ESPN News is your never-ending source for NFL news, highlights, scores, and stats. With shows like The Blitz and Monday Quarterback.
Successful quarterbacks watch coverage. They do not watch their receivers.
Live press conferences, deep analysis.
They play football the way it's supposed to be played.
All things NFL 24/7. Find it at ESPN News.
Now the big game really is in your room.
That's unbelievable!
ESPN and Fisher-Price introduced the ESPN Shot Block Basketball.
Nothing but nylon!
It's the only basketball game with built-in defense, featuring the voice of ESPN's own Dick Vitale.
Wow, what a nice shot!
With electronic scoring and real crowd noise. The ESPN Shot Block Basketball gives you 8 different ways to play, from rookie to pro.
What a performance like that, you might be on SportsCenter!
Take it to the hole with the ESPN Shot Block Basketball. In stores now. Batteries not included.
I got first pick.
No, you had first pick last game. All right, give me Dopey.
All right, let me get Sneezy.
I'm gonna go with Happy.
Bashful.
Grumpy.
I'll take Sleepy. Wake up.
Doc. No, not you. I meant Doc.
Join us in March for ESPN The Weekend at the Walt Disney World Resort. There's something for every fan. Visit ESPNTheWeekend.com today. Presented by Speedstick 24/7.
Reuben Carter, his team down by 10. Trying to figure out if they can get the ball back. They're still not out of it, but they're going to have to do something offensively. And they just announced the attendance for the 7th straight year. Over 70,000 fans in attendance here at the Disney Florida Classic. 70,112 the announced attendance for this evening. It is 2nd down and inches. Russell gets the first down, gets extra yards down to the 45-yard line. Gain of about 6 for Jimmy Russell. He needed 2.
Yeah, Jimmy Russell is a tough kid. I mean, he only goes around 175 pounds and constantly go inside the interior of that FAMU line. I mean, he's almost like a fullback with the type of plays and the licks that he takes. So maybe this offseason he needs to get just a little bit bigger.
Get in the weight room, yeah. Well, you know, we were talking to him yesterday, and he was talking about how when he came in, you know, Lawrence McLeod was the man. He had never run this kind of offense, and how he was mentored by Lawrence McLeod and how he watched him to learn how to run this triple option, or the Wyatt bone as they like to call it. And, you know, those two young men have remained pretty good friends, with McLeod being his mentor. McLeod was the MVP of this game back in 2002. Let's go down and back to the studio to Mike Hall. Mike.
All right, Charlie, in terms of being bowl eligible, they're back. Jim Levitt's in South Florida needing a win against Cincinnati. 3rd quarter. Watch this play. Amari Jackson, Steve Israel, he fumbles and he gets it, and then he makes some blocks happen, and then he makes people miss, and then he scores.
This guy is very, very athletic. He's an exciting player, that Jackson.
First home game in the last 55 days. More importantly, though, they win 31-16.
South Florida. So a lot of things happening in the state of Florida, aren't they? And I think for Rashard Pompey, he is sitting on the sideline right now, still a good ways away, 31 yards away from hitting that 79 yards that he needs for 3,000 for his career. And more importantly, for him, he's a graduate student, so he has no opportunity to come back and make that happen like next year.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he's one of those guys, a 4-year player. Of course, this would be the 4th loss in a row to Bethune-Cookman if they can't come back and erase this 10-point deficit.
They had a delay of game. Now it's 2nd down and 16. Here's Weems trying to go to the left side, being chased from behind, cuts it back, and gets across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. And he's stopped by McGriff. Tyrone McGriff. Weems versus Florida A&M as a freshman scored 3 touchdowns. As a sophomore, ran for 157 yards and a touchdown and had 9 receptions for 116 yards. He has played every game in his career, 33 straight games, and he has 34 touchdowns. The record for a career for Bethune is 39 by Alan Suber.
Watch out, Suber. That record's going to break.
Weems has not scored in this game. Here's Russell. But down short of the first down marker. A good tackle in the open field by Dowdy.
I think Jimmy Russell has a little Mike Vick in him. If you're going to be a wide receiver at Bethune-Cookman, you better get open real fast, because Jimmy doesn't like to stay in that pocket too long.
No.
If he sees it open, then he's taking it. And you can't blame the kid because of his speed and his running ability. He can definitely make people miss, and he can pick up a 3rd and 12 situation on the ground by just taking off and outrunning the defenders and getting the first down.
He has what they like to call happy feet. He gets out of the kitchen quick, doesn't he?
Hey, if nobody's open.
Davis player. And now we get another delay of game penalty against Bethune-Cookman. Alvin Wyatt's been beside himself on the sideline with this play clock. But the team takes their time between third. It's like they're not sure on 4th and long whether they're going to run or whether they're going to pass or go for it on 4th down. They may have FAMU brought on the punt block team. Player gets off a good kick. He goes out of bounds inside the 10. They're going to mark it right at the 10-yard line. So that's where FAMU will get the ball. But time is running out. 9:30 to go. 40-yard punt by Davis player. There's a timeout on the field. We'll take one with 9.5 to go.
Famous pioneers. The Williams sisters. Who led the rebel forces? Jerry Tarkanian. Famous Indian chief. Mike Hargrove.
Nice call on Hargrove.
Lincoln's in the news again. In Lincoln, Nebraska, the Huskers just signed a freight All-American with 4-2.
ESPN Radio. Get your radio on.
The NBA on ESPN. It's a Wednesday night showdown between two Western contenders. The Suns look to stay hot until Amari returns, behind Sean Marion and reigning MVP Steve Nash. The Rockets hope Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady can put it together and turn them into a power. Suns versus Rockets. Coverage begins Wednesday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN.
The heir apparent.
Big right hand for Taylor.
Bernard Hopkins hadn't lost in a decade.
Hopkins got in the big right hand
and
shot.
When it was over,
and now
the animosity began.
You know you didn't beat me. I'll beat you again, and I'm gonna teach you to respect me.
Taylor Hopkins 2. No Respect. Saturday, December 3rd. Live on DirecTV pay-per-view. Don't miss it. Live on DirecTV pay-per-view, channel 123.
Fight Academy, in association with Integrated Sports, presents The Unification, live on pay-per-view Saturday, November 26th, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Don't miss my light welterweight unification match against Carlos Mauser.
Line up now, we don't have to worry about it. All right?
Ringo 19 and what else?
Always line up opposite of the ball.
Alvin Wyatt talking to Jimmy Russell during the timeout. He says we got to run the clock out. We got to control the ball, and we need to score. We can't give him an opportunity. But 90 yards is how far FAMU has to go, and this was batted in the air, and it's incomplete. Let's go down to Jay Walker with more on Alvin Wyatt.
If you talk about having to recruit in-home talent, well, Coach Wyatt realized everybody wants these kids from Florida. So he came up with a unique recruiting perspective. He decided to get involved with the local chapter of the NYSP, the National Youth Sports Program, and start getting to these kids when they were as little as 10 years of age. I asked him how many players are on this Cookman team right now that were part of that NYSP program. He said about 25, and 80% of them I started defense. Guys like Travis Rowland, Ramon McCullum, and Dennis King. And also on offense, the playmaker Eric Weems. He's been knowing him since he was 11. Charlie, Eddie, back to you.
All right. And a big run that time all the way out to the 28-yard line. An 18-yard run for the quarterback, Al Chester. And a first down is gained before Larry Summers made the stop defensively. The clock continuing to run down to the 9-minute mark.
You know, as we talked with Jay in the recruiting aspect of it, Coach Wyatt just really stressed that he likes to get kids on campus. They get to meet the president and everything, so does a great job.
Chester stands in there, throws an out pattern on the near side. It is Kaiser with another first down across the 40 to the 44. Let's go to Mike Hall in the studio.
All right, back here with Steve Israel to Seattle. We go Washington State down 3. Less than 2 minutes to go. Alex Brink to Brandon Harvey. 39 yards, and the Cougars are up. And they go on to win the Apple Cup, but afterwards, yeah, both sides are jawing at each other. Not quite Clemson, South Carolina from last year, but it's fun nonetheless. They win, Charlie.
All right, congratulations. Chester has some room, dances to the outside, and is brought down right shy of the midfield stripe at about the 49-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5. Clock again still running.
And Chester also brings that added dimension of a quarterback who can also run.
He certainly does.
So Bethune-Cookman, in this situation, you have to be smart when you're rushing your passer. You have to stay in your passing lanes. You can't lose containment. You have to try to keep him boxed in when you're trying to pass rush.
When you talk about the two quarterbacks that we've seen today, here's a draw play, keeping it on the ground with Pompey, and Pompey gets the first down to the 45-yard line, a gain of 6 on that run for Pompey. But one of the things we were talking about with Driscoll and Chester, Chester is the more athletic of the two quarterbacks. Driscoll, the more experienced.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, both guys have been highly effective today. I mean, both of them have done a good job of controlling the game. They haven't made a lot of mistakes. But I think with Chester, you have that added dimension of a guy who can just make something happen, just make a play out of nothing.
And again, Pompey with the ball. Pompey down inside the 40 to the 36-yard line.
Of course, Pompey is trying to get that 3,000 yards career, but of course, more than anything, he would like to just win this ball game, being down by 10. And as we talked to both coaches, they said this is all about the seniors. I mean, they have a lot of guys who will be playing and putting on pads for the very last time of their football career, and they want to have a victory.
And you see some names in there like Amir Rasul and Tony Barber and Willie Gallimore. He's in some tall cotton, as they like to say. And here's the quarterback, Chester, down inside the 30. Chester still on his feet to the 25, and another first down for Florida A&M. Good drive. This started at their own 10-yard line. That was the 6th play of the drive, and they're all the way down to the 25-yard line of Bethune-Cookman College.
They're moving fast. I mean, we still have quite a bit of time left in this game. And like Coach White was saying, we need to run out this clock. He knows that he doesn't want to give FAMU a lot of opportunities to put points on the board going down the stretch in this fourth quarter.
They've used 3 minutes in this drive already. Here's the option to the right side.
Watch out.
And there's a little running room over there. And finally getting out of bounds after the run is the tight end Ronald Wright out of Miami's Washington High. He was a true freshman last year, and he caught 24 passes. Came into today's game with 15 catches.
Yeah, and I like this play. It's just a fake on the inside, and once again, it's just an extension of the running play. You get a guy on the outfield, and you see that little move right there, Charlie? They tell me if he's even, he's leaving. And all he wants to do is to get that defensive back to stop his feet, because those wide receivers, they can always start and stop quicker than the guys on defense.
It is 2nd down and 2. Remember, Bethune has no timeouts remaining. FAMU has all 3 of theirs left. Here's Chester standing in there, throws, has it complete, and it's Pompey on the reception, and Pompey gets it all the way down to the 6-yard line before Hughes made the stop, and Hughes was a little slow getting up the linebacker. Rodney Hughes, number 57, out of Austell, Georgia. And he does get up.
Pompey only 5 receptions on the year, so he's not really big factoring into the passing game, but just a little dump-off play, nobody was open. Chester did the smart thing, dumped it down to his running back, and he was able to get some positive yards as they try to get this score.
Now we have the officials' timeout. Chuck Williams is coming over to the sideline.
Don't forget we had an overtime game here last year, and as we go down to the final minutes of this game, we're only down by 10, so it's shaping up to where that may be the same situation as FAMU tries to get a score and cut this to either a 7 or a 3-point ball game.
First and goal, Florida A&M.
First and goal for the Rattlers. Quarterback in trouble. Still on his feet. You talking about escapability. The Houdini trick takes him down to the 4. How did he get out of that?
Probably the most exciting 4-yard play that I've seen in a very long time. I mean, everybody had a chance for the tackle, and nobody could get him down. He was boxed in nicely in some kind of way. Like you say, Houdini, he just disappeared and almost got into the end zone.
He takes it down to the 3-yard line before Chris Robinson corralled him.
You can tell me if nobody's open on that first pump, I mean, he knows he does what I do best. I'm going to make people miss.
Pompey. And Pompey is down to the 1. Pompey has 1 touchdown already from 1 yard out in the game. Trying for number 2.
I have a feeling Reuben Carter, the big defensive tackle, he's just going to try to be physical and pound this ball inside. I don't think you're going to see anything cute right here.
Pompey, let's see if they go the way they went the first one. He does, and they score. So they pull within 4 points. 23-19, Pompey going off the right side like he did in his first touchdown early in the contest. And that came in the second quarter. This one with 4:28 to go. And remember, they used almost 5 minutes on that drive, so the clock wasn't their ally in that situation.
But the biggest thing is just have to get points on the board. So even though it did take them a long time, it's only hopefully a 3-point deficit if they can make this kick, and they still have 3 timeouts.
Point after is up, and the point after is good. 3-point ball game, 23-20, with 4:28. That's the time remaining. A 12-play, 90-yard drive, 5:02 off the clock. FAMU is knocking at the door.
What do Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Steve McNair, and John Stallworth have in common? They are some of the NFL's biggest stars, and they emerged from the best-kept secret in college football. Historically black colleges and universities. ESPNU is the leader in HBCU football. Every week, experience the competition, the marching bands, and the excitement that is HBCU football. Watch the Turkey Day Classic as Tuskegee takes on Alabama State. Thanksgiving Day at 2 Eastern, only on ESPNU.
Local and long distance, high-speed internet, digital satellite TV, and Singular Wireless. You can arrange your SBC services however you want to create a flexible plan that fits your needs. Makes cable seem like, well, history.
The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, comprised of 11 outstanding academic institutions, was established on the principles of educating and preparing student athletes for the game of life. MEAC institutions have committed themselves to high academic standards, science and technology, scholarly research, and community service. Our members represent the foundation for producing many of tomorrow's future leaders. On the playing field or in the classroom, the MEAC is continuing its proud tradition of academic and athletic excellence.
Be frugal.
Be decisive.
Be opportunistic. Be powerful. In other words, be extraordinary. Power E-Trade Pro with low pricing for stock and options trades. At E-Trade Financial, we keep challenging the ordinary to help investors be extraordinary.
This week on Sunday NFL Countdown.
I'm just mad because we're not winning.
We've got a rare conversation.
Here it's just like, man, just shut up and go play.
With the prolific Randy Moss and his hope all but slipped away in Philly.
Dad's going to throw it. It's going to be intercepted.
Plus,
when it comes off your hand, you know that's headed right where I want it to be. Within this past year, I've started to feel that.
Steve talks shop with one of the hottest QBs around. It's all on Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Old Spice Red Zone, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Disney Florida Classic in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. 4:28, the time remaining, a 3-point ball game. Last year was 58-52 in overtime. The year before was 39-35. Bethune coming out victorious. Can they hold on? Will Florida A&M rally? Here's the kick by Wesley Taylor. Daly has it at the 2. Daly out across the 15 to the 17-yard line. They'll mark it at the 18, so Bethune-Cookman needs to be able to run the clock out. Remember, they have no timeouts remaining, and FAMU has all 3 of theirs left.
So with 4 minutes and 22 seconds, yes, FAMU definitely is in the position. Even if Bethune-Cookman is able to get a first down or 2 with those 3 timeouts, hopefully they can get the ball back and have a chance to tie this game or possibly even win it.
Bethune has run 61 plays today for 371 yards. Florida A&M 59 plays for 331. The edge in rushing goes to Bethune, 292 yards rushing. The passing yards, 201 to FAMU. First down and 10. Jimmy Russell from the shotgun. And he's going to hand it off inside, trying to turn the corner. And not much running room there for Vince Wilson. They're blowing the whistle, blowing it dead. Stepped out of bounds. They're telling him to keep going. The coaches on the sideline are having a conniption. They told him to keep going.
The referee said, come on back, kid. Come on back.
He's out of bounds right there. He stepped out of bounds. See, there's his foot right on the line. No question that he was out of bounds. And they lost yards on the play. He lost 5, so it's 2nd and 15 now. Remember, Vince Wilson hadn't played until late in this contest because of the injury to Corey Counsell. Back to pass, the quarterback. He stepped out. Or did he? No, he didn't. Wilson, Jimmy Russell still on his feet. And he gets the first down, and we have a player for FAMU shaken up on the sideline. Let's go to the studio. Mike Hall for an update. Mike.
Well, we want to remind you, coming up in about 10 minutes, this is Nick Luke, Alabama A&M running back. Last week had 110 yards rushing and 2 TDs. Plus, his brother is the starting QB. Again, that game kickoff about 7:09. Guys, let's see if we can get a few more shots of that MEAC mascot sometime, huh, Charlie?
Mike, I want to see if they have one of those suits to fit you. 3:55 is the time remaining. Let's look at the last play, and Jimmy Russell kept his wits about him, came close to stepping out right here, but somehow managed to stay in.
He was very close to getting out of bounds, and then here he just crosses the field, a la Marcus Allen in the Super Bowl, making a lot of people miss. Unfortunate for FAMU because they had him boxed in, and he had the little pump fake, and everybody jumped at the same time.
He certainly did, and that would have been, had they been able to corral him, that would have brought up a 3rd and long again. But instead, they moved the chains for Bethune-Cookman. One thing that happened they didn't want to happen is the clock stopped. And we have an injury timeout, and we also had a first down. Vernon Wilder was the man who is shaken up right now for the Rattlers of Florida A&M. And let's look at another Disney venue.
Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World, travel back 65 million years into prehistoric times, where the only thing between you and extinction is a seatbelt. Asteroids explode all around as you race against time to save one dinosaur and yourself from a hungry carnosaur who thinks you're on the menu.
And when you come to Disney with the kids, Eddie, do you get on any of those?
They're the ones I can fit on. I mean, but Disney is a lot of fun. I mean, they have a lot of new rides. It's definitely time for me to make another trip there. But here you can see the Bethune-Cookman band. I tell you, Charlie, I've seen a lot of black college bands and just bands in general. Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, they probably have the best in-stand band that I've ever seen. They have this song, the Let's Go Wildcats. It's their fight song. And that thing should be patented. They should be playing that at football and basketball games across the country, as you can see. And just a real festive atmosphere. You can see both bands are trying to encourage their teams to pull this ball game out.
Well, the motto for Bethune-Cookman coming into the season was they were showstoppers and dream killers, and they're trying to kill the dreams of the Rattlers of Florida A&M right now. If they can run this one out, under 4 minutes to go, and they're leading by 3. Don't want you to forget the ESPN's coverage of college football continues right after our game tonight at 7 Eastern. It's the Alabama A&M Bulldogs look to avoid a late season letdown when they take on the Prairie View A&M Panthers. That will kick off at 7:09 here on ESPNU. And the SWAC East champion Bulldogs will battle the SWAC West champion Grambling State Tigers for the SWAC championship. And that'll be on December 10th down in Birmingham, Alabama. And we'll show you that on ESPN Classic. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Right now, being helped off the field, young man who was shaken up, Vernon Wilder, the middle linebacker out of Carroll City, Florida. His granddad played at Florida A&M. We talked about a lot of fathers and sons, but his grandfather, Vernon Wilder, played defense for FAMU in the 1960s.
And that just goes back to the tradition of Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. When you start seeing guys who dads and granddads are All-Americans at FAMU, and now their sons and their grandsons are playing. That lets you know that it's a family tradition. It doesn't matter of how good of a football player you think you are, or where you have a scholarship offer to. We want you to go to FAMU because that's where the rest of the family has gone, and that's what you have to build on here. And that's the thing that Reuben Carter can really hang his hat on, is the tradition and the history of FAMU football.
70,112 in attendance today. 7th time that this classic has gone over 70,000. 7th straight year. Here's Jimmy Russell, the MVP of last year's Florida Classic with the overtime win, 58-52. He's on the carry to the right side. A pickup of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Here's Jimmy Russell. FAMU a year ago were leading in this ball game 52-31 in the 3rd quarter. Russell rallied the team for 21 points. He tied it with a 12-yard run with 5:55 left, and look at him go around the corner and pick up the 1st down, and that's why he was the MVP a year ago.
And he's working on getting another MVP trophy at the pace he's going. I mean, he's just making all of the right decisions today. You have to have an intelligent quarterback who's also an athlete who can make the right decisions. Here, once again, the triple option, you see it coming right at you. You face the fullback. Hey, nobody's there. No need to pitch it. I just take it myself and get the 1st down and keep that clock rolling.
And that run put him over 100 for the day, 101 yards on 24 carries and a touchdown for the quarterback, Jimmy Russell. And he's just a sophomore. This time he hands off to his fullback, Chauncey Hampton. Let's go to the studio, Mike Hall.
Auburn and Alabama with the tied down 18. We got a new QB in John Parker Wilson. It's all about the second effort. He dives in. Congratulations. 2-point conversion is good. Doesn't matter. Tigers, those lucky ducks, they are up by 10, and they win by that score, 28-18. The Iron Bowl champions, 2005. Your Auburn Tigers.
A little upset there. 2nd straight week Alabama's lost, huh?
Yeah, a couple late season losses, and that's a real big game. I mean, I went to college in the state of Alabama, so I know about that Alabama-Auburn game. But here, Bethune-Cookman FAMU, I mean, I don't think anyone is left. I mean, tailgating is everywhere, and they have a lot of stuff going on outside the stadium. But right now, everybody's eyes on Jimmy Russell to see if he can salt this thing down and run out this clock.
Well, FAMU called the timeout. Remember, Bethune had no timeouts left, and Jimmy Russell was doing all he could to keep it going. And they've already selected the 2 MVPs from this game. Albert Chester, the quarterback from Florida A&M, and of course Jimmy Russell, what he's been able to do for the Wildcats at Bethune-Cookman, which if they can hold on will improve their record to make that 8-3 for the season, 5-3 in conference play.
And you talk with Coach White, he of course calls this game a JS, a job saver, and with the great job he's been doing at Bethune-Cookman, and his job is never in jeopardy. But at the same time, this just gives you one more feather in your cap when you can beat the rival FAMU.
Well, it used to be that way with Grambling and Southern. They'll play on Thanksgiving Day or Saturday after Thanksgiving in Houston, and I remember Cass Jackson used to be the coach down there some years ago, and he had lost every game throughout the season. They beat Grambling in the Bayou Classic, and he kept his job for another year. So, those are the type of games you need. They say and like Reuben Carter said, and you alluded to at the Open, when he got the job, everybody was patting him on the back and congratulating him and telling him what a fine job he's done. But he said, but also, Coach, let me remind you, you've got to win the Florida Classic.
You've got to beat Bethune-Cookman. And the Classic is somewhat one-sided because of all of the great teams that Florida A&M has had over the years. But the last couple years, of course, the last 3 in a row, Bethune-Cookman has won. So, I mean, the FAMU people aren't used to losing this game. And even though Reuben Carter isn't responsible for those last 3 losses, now that he's the new coach, if it's 4 in a row, I mean, they're going to put everything on him, which is somewhat unfair.
Now let's go down to Jay. Jay?
You know, you talk about Bethune-Cookman and the job that Alvin Wyatt has done. Well, they take on mottos every year, and their motto for this upcoming season was, we're dream killers, never scared. And I think they realize that they've killed the dreams of any Florida A&M seniors that thought that they would beat Bethune-Cookman in 4 years. And, hey, they're never scared because they just keep on playing. Guys, back to you.
Well, they've been playing well today, and they've done what they've had to do to get by. Remember, they were a couple of points away from, you know, they lost to South Carolina State by 3 points. They got shut out by Delaware State in a monsoon rainstorm up in Dover, Delaware, and they lost by Hampton 24-10 after leading in that game 3-0. So,
5 yards remains, 3rd down.
So for that reason, you know, they were right on the bubble and right on the verge of being in contention for the MEAC title this year.
Yeah, and I love talking to Coach Wyatt. I mean, he's a great coach, but he's also a great person, just a good motivator.
A great motivator.
He had me ready to sign up and take 4 more years at BCC, get a graduate degree or something, the way he talks about the university.
Here's Jimmy Russell. He's going to be dropped for a loss with 2:18 to go. That was a 3rd down play. So FAMU still has an opportunity here on 4th down. Now the clock is still running, remember, and I'm sure Bethune is going to take their time getting on the field. They may even take a delay of game penalty here. Let's see, Jimmy Russell trying to buy a little time.
Yeah, I think, you know, with the play action pass, it looks like it could have been a design run all the way because he didn't look down the field very often. And of course, he wants to keep that clock running. Much better for him to run the ball. That's the positive thing. He did stay in bounds, but now they're going to have to play some defense and try to stop FAMU.
And they took the delay of game penalty. They take a long time getting on the field. And I'm sure that part of it was to burn some time because the clock is down to 1:37. That's the time remaining. Is you look at Davis Player. Had a pretty good night punting. This is only the 4th time he's punted so far this evening.
Bethune-Cookman is probably taking more delay of game penalties in one game than I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, they've been penalized 10 times in this game already for 96 yards. So Player will punt it away to Roosevelt Kaiser. Kaiser, leading punt returner in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, averaging 16 yards per return. He's got a chance. Makes a move to the outside, caught from behind at the 40. 1:27 to go.
That was a real dangerous kick. That was a line drive, did not have a lot of hang time. And with a guy like Kaiser, you want to definitely kick that ball in the air so your coverage team can have a chance to defend. Had he not had that guy come from the backside, he could have possibly made something happen.
Florida A&M has 1 timeout left. They have 60 yards to go for at least get in field goal position for Wesley Taylor to have a chance. Empty backfield for Chester. Chester in trouble. Spins out. Now he lets it go. It's going to be interference. Yes. No question about it. The receiver went up for it, and he was undercut by the defensive back. It was Willie Hayward, the intended receiver there, number 3. Greater than 15, it'll be a 15-yard penalty, and that'll move the ball downfield. Let's look at it once again. The concern on Alvin Wyatt's face.
Yeah, the ball is high up in the air. You can see number 28, Larry Summers, is trying to pick up the interception, but James Mounds came from the backside. Looked like he's the one who actually hit the receiver just a tad bit earlier. Easy call for the field judge. Big 15-yard penalty for FAMU.
So it moves it across midfield into Florida A&M territory. This is another one of those going down to the wire, or we could have overtime. Let's see what happens. So the 15-yard penalty, the clock stops with the penalty, 1:18 and the incomplete pass. Chester throws. Whoa! That was, I don't want it, you take it.
Playing a little hot potato back there.
Yeah, they were. Rodney Hughes was all in the middle of that. The receiver had it. That was Kaiser, and he could have had a big gain for the Rattlers, and He just let it go.
I mean, depending on the way this ball tips, it could have easily been a touchdown. If the ball is in the air, you can see everybody has a chance at it, and then it can almost be a BCC interception. So just a game of inches. You never know. You just have to play through on every play. But Chester has another chance here on 2nd down.
And 10 with 1:10 to go. He's going to take off and run. Gets the first down, and he's inside the 35 to the 30. Now they're getting in field goal range for the field goal kicker, Wesley Taylor, who's hit a 50-yarder, I should say a 46-yarder this year, his long, and that came against Morgan State. Under a minute to go. Wide open on the corner, and they missed the man all the way down the far sideline. There was a gentleman over there as Patrick made the stop here. You remember, one timeout left for FAMU. They're probably trying to save it. They had a receiver on the far side. Looked like he was going down that sideline if Chester could have seen him. He's not there now. In the middle. Dropped. Little too high.
And keep in mind that number 1, Bobby Williams, who has 6 interceptions with Bethune-Cookman, is not in the game. And on the last 2 plays, the middle of the field has been wide open. There's nobody there. And so now I see Bobby Williams is coming in the game. But if you look at the replay, there's nobody there in the middle of the field. The guy who's supposed to be playing free safety was misaligned over to the right side. And if he throws a good ball, I mean, that's clearly a touchdown because nobody is there.
Just a little too high. And there you see Wesley Taylor out of Riverdale, Florida, the sophomore. It is 3rd down, but more importantly, only 27 seconds on the clock and a flag.
And remember, Bobby Williams wasn't supposed to play today. He came in.
Number 71,
Bobby Williams came into the game a little banged up today, and so he's been in and out of the game. But I guess once Coach White saw that last play with nobody in the middle of the field, he told Bobby Williams to get back out there. So now he's in the ball game.
If they had to attempt a field goal from this position right now, it would be a 48-yard attempt. That was a false start on the right guard, Keenan Moss, the senior from Killian High down in Miami.
And keep in mind, although FAMU would love to get a touchdown and win this ball game, 3 points would still send it into overtime. So more importantly, they have got to get in the field goal range if nothing else.
Well, they're within. It would be a 48-yard field goal attempt if they kick it from where they are right now.
That's range, but that's long range. They want to get
he's hit a 46-yarder this year. He's made 5 coming into the game. He made 5 of his first 6, but missed 7 of his last 12 before this contest. Quarterback gets outside and gets it down to the 26-yard line, gets him closer. They'll call a timeout before Travis Rowland made the stop defensively. So they call the timeout, and they'll bring on the field goal unit with a 4th down and 4. And this one will come from the 26. It'll be a 43-yard field goal attempt for Wesley Taylor to tie it with 18 seconds to go.
Good play by Coach Carter and FAMU. Just get him a little bit closer. I mean, the difference between a 43 and a 48-yard, just mentally think those goalposts are a little bit closer. And those kickers, I mean, they're shaky. It's a lot of things going through his head right here. So you want to make that kick as close as possible. But it's still going to be a real tough kick here to try to send this game into overtime.
He is 1 for 2 in this game. That is Wesley Taylor. He missed a 46-yarder early on the opening drive for Florida A&M. And he hit a 38-yarder to start the second quarter. Or second half, I should say, the third quarter. This one from 43 yards out to tie it with 18 seconds to go. Off the left hash mark. Kaiser is the holder. It's up. It has the distance. And it is good. Tied at 23.
Give a lot of credit to FAMU on that drive, not giving up. Albert Chester coming there with a couple of big runs. A couple of short passes here and there, getting into field goal range, realizing that they were just on the edge of his distance, and in that last little 5-yard run was able to make that kick just a little bit shorter. So now they can have an opportunity to send this game in overtime unless Bethune-Cookman can pull out some type of miracle.
13 seconds to time remaining. We're tied at 23. A year ago, they went in overtime. 58-52 was the final. Right now, it's 23-23. Now on the field goal, 2 today by Mr. Wesley Taylor. He hit one from 45 yards out. He hit one from 43 yards out. Here's the last 5 scores in this Disney Florida Classic. A year ago, a 6-point game in overtime. The year before last, a 3-point game with Bethune winning. They dominated in 2002. And they're looking at overtime possibly again this year.
And one thing Coach Carter said, the strength of his team was their ability to endure, ability to not to give up. That the years before they've been in negative situations and they didn't finish the game, but he felt like his team would never quit and always persevere. And you can see now, being down by 10, they've been able to tie this game up and possibly send it into overtime.
So each field goal kicker has kicked 3 field goals today. 3 for Wesley Taylor, 3 for Cortez. They skidded along the ground. And the ball come loose. Did it come loose or not? They're going to say he was down. Down by contact, so no fumble. But what a hit that was put on Daly.
You have a couple of Rattlers down on the field right now. I mean, this has been some big-time collision. They say it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. And you'll see here. Hit coming from the backside. Yeah, and that looks like a fumble.
That is a fumble.
And that ball is at the 35-yard line, so that would have been in possible field goal range for FAMU once again to possibly win this game.
With 5 seconds to go, we have Dorian Gibson down. That special teams is kind of rough, isn't it? Because you're going at full speed.
Hey, that's Rock'em Sock'em Robot right there. The only injuries I've ever had have been on special teams in 11 years of playing in the NFL. You're talking about some of the biggest collisions when guys are running full speed for a 50-yard head start, and you really just have to go. I mean, it's no thinking about it. You just have to put your body on the line.
Well, let's go to the studio for an update from Mike Hall. Mike?
All right, guys, Penn State taking on Michigan State. It's a 10-point lead in the 4th. Tony Hunt's got the ball and a blocker and a score. 31-14. They're trying to become the first BCS Bowl eligible team. And if they win it, they will win the Big Ten and be able to do so. And as we see, 1 minute and 16 seconds left in this one. A reminder for everyone, Prairie View A&M and Alabama A&M will be coming up as soon as the game you're watching ends. Back to Charlie now.
All right, Mike, thank you. 31-14, Penn State in control there. Right now, Bethune-Cookman is looking at the 2nd overtime game for them this year. The last overtime game they played was earlier on in the season when they played former defensive coordinator's team, Pete Adrian, Norfolk State squad, and that game went into 4 overtimes. They won it 63-61. But let's look back at the return by Daly. And what was not ruled as a fumble, said he was down by contact, but the ball is out before he ever touches the ground. It's no question about it. But then FAMU came on top of it, dove on it.
That's a big break for Bethune-Cookman because they would have been in a situation where FAMU could have kicked the go-ahead score with 5 seconds left in the game. Referees weren't able to catch that call, but and the action is moving so fast, I don't see how the rest can see half of the calls that they do, but they've been doing a great job today.
Well, had it been, it'd have been a 52-yard field goal attempt, but it would have been exciting anyhow.
Then Elgin Anderson, number 40, is the guy who's gotten hurt on the kickoff, and never want to see a guy getting carried off the field, so hopefully he'll be okay.
So what could be the last play of regulation here? Although Jimmy Russell, he's not giving up. He's going to let it fly. Hope for a defensive pass interference. Well, McLeod's in there, actually. So he runs out of bounds or falls down, and regulation is over. So we're going to go to overtime. There's a timeout on the field. When we come back, we'll talk about the overtime rule and how they'll play this one out for the second straight year.
Coming to historic Legion Field December 10th in Birmingham, Alabama is the 2005 SWAC Football Championship. The best in the East meets the best in the West in a winner-takes-all showdown. No polls, no computers, no rankings. This one is decided on the gridiron. It all happens Saturday, December 10th at 1 p.m. at Legion Field. Tickets on sale now at all Ticketmaster outlets or visit SWAC.org.
As we go into overtime here in the 26th edition of the Disney Florida Classic, it's been a dogfight since the beginning. At one point, there were 3 straight scores, but they were all by way of field goals. It started out with Bethune-Cookman scoring first on Cortez' 33-yard field goal. Then Corey Council went 59 yards to make it 10-0. Russell with a 1-yard run. It was 17-0 Bethune-Cookman before Wesley Taylor got FAMU on the board with a 45-yard field goal. Then Pompey with a 1-yard run made it 17-10. Cortez, a 51-yard field goal, made it 20-10. Then he hit a 39-yarder before half with 23 seconds to go to make it 23-10. The third quarter, it was Wesley Taylor with a 38-yard field goal. Pompey, a 1-yard run, making it 23-20. And then Wesley Taylor with a 43-yard field goal with 13 seconds to go in regulation. That tied it at 23, and we're ready for overtime. Let's go down to Jay.
Yeah, you know, if you're Coach Carter, you got to be pleased with the overtime, because when I talked to him at the end of the first half, he said he was surprised his team was still in it. They missed assignments, they had turnovers, they had a punt block, but he said if we continue to hang around, this game will come down to the fourth quarter and we'll make a play. Another element of note, for about the past 5 minutes, the drizzling rain here started to pick up. I got to squint my eyes now when I talk to you. Rain could be a factor in the overtime session. I'm going to go get dry, fellas.
Yeah, don't mess up that suit. Some of the rain is coming down here. 45 minutes before kickoff, we had a pretty good rain came down. And right now, the two captains or from their respective squads are out at midfield, and Chuck Williams tossing the coin. So they want to take and work to our right. So Bethune-Cookman will get the ball to start the overtime. And let's look at the rules for overtime. Each team will get the ball, at least one possession from the opponent's 25-yard line per overtime until a winner is decided. Now the teams must go for a 2-point conversion starting with the third overtime. That's the important rule there. So if you score a touchdown in the third overtime, you must go for the 2-point conversion. So you can't just sit there and go on and on and on and on all day long. And you can still have 7 or 8 overtimes, depending on how good your 2-point conversion game plan is.
And keep in mind, both of these guys has 2 accomplished kickers. So if this comes down to a field goal duel, yeah, we could be into the third or fourth overtime.
Well, yeah, Wesley Taylor had struggled for a while. And we're talking to Reuben Carter earlier. He said, you know, I have all the confidence in this young man. I haven't given up on him. He has consoled him during the struggles that he's had. So Bethune-Cookman with the ball, first down and 10. Try to come back. FAMU with 13 unanswered points. Here's the pitch to the right side. And nothing doing this time for Woodbury on the end around.
That was Devin Richardson running the lane. And what I mean by running the lane, you have those safeties. They have to come down and field for those pitches. I mean, they have to stop the fullback and, of course, the quarterback. So once it gets out to the third level, you have to have safeties and cornerbacks who can get off blocks and make sure tackles. FAMU's doing a good job of that today so far.
Weems is in there. He's on a wing to the right side, along with Chauncey Hampton, the fullback. Weems in motion. And the option by Jimmy Russell, and he was looking for Weems, but the defense was all over him. He didn't have a whole lot of time to look for anybody as St. Felix was there defensively. And Russell was a little slow getting up.
Guys are all tied up. The helmets got stuck together. But
is that what it is?
Yeah, you see the good penetration by FAMU, and nobody is really open. They took away the fullback and they covered the pitch. So, of course, he was forced to run with the ball, and they had a guy in the lane to stop him also. So FAMU is starting to get this figured out, this triple option by Bethune-Cookman. Once you see it a number of times, it becomes easy, and everybody is in the right place. However, one person out of place at any time, and it can lead to a big play by Bethune-Cookman.
So it is 3rd down. They have to get to the 15. The ball is at the 18. 3rd and 3. Option again. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. Tyrone McGriff. 4th down.
McGriff, a guy who was banged up earlier. He's probably one of the best defensive players on his team. You can see 6.5 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss. Very active.
And now Bethune will bring in Mr. Cortez, who already has 3 field goals in the contest. He's hit one from 38, 51, and 39 yards. This one will be from 40. The kick is up, has the distance. No good, off to the left.
Huge miss by Cortez. You have the rain that's starting to be a factor. Also, the wind has picked up a little bit, and that ball just pushed to the outside on Cortez. So now you have a situation where all FAMU has to do is score a point. They can win by a field goal or a touchdown. Anything matters. Now it's tied up 23-23, so Bethune-Cookman defense has to come out here and pitch a shutout.
Earlier today, a 51-yarder for Mr. Cortez. And here it is. He kicked a 39-yarder after that. Then he just missed one. Pompey going straight ahead. And let's look at the miss by Cortez. Just barely missed. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
Change of the quarterback from Chester to Driscoll in the middle of the series.
Interesting. Pompey nowhere. He loses yards. Lost about 3 on that play. So it'll be 3rd and 11. The charge defensively led by Cato along with McCullough. We're in overtime at the Disney Florida Classic. Florida A&M and Bethune. Charlie Neal, Jay Walker, Eddie Robinson. Don't forget, stay with us for a SWAC matchup between Prairie View and Alabama A&M. Right now, FAMU trying to win this game in overtime. They were down by 13 points at halftime, and they've come back to tie it and send it into overtime. Here's Pompey with some running room to the left side. Pompey still on his feet on the flag. We may have holding. Normally we see holding in that area unless it's a face mask. Hughes, the linebacker on the stop defensively, number 57.
Pompey is finishing off a great career here at FAMU.
It's against Bethune, I think.
Face mask.
It was not thrown by the umpire. It was thrown, I believe, by the back judge.
Face mask. Number 11. Defense. Incidental. 5 yard. Results. 1st down.
1st and goal.
FAMU has a golden opportunity right here. They can score a touchdown or kick the field goal.
That says it all. That picture you see there on Alvin Wyatt's face. Great position for FAMU. I would just try to move it to the middle of the field. Right side, Pompey. He's been successful twice down near the goal line. And Pompey is over the 3,000-yard mark. He had the 79 he needed. Had to do it in overtime, but he got it, right?
When else would you want to do it? I mean, that's just classic. I mean, he came into this game not needing too many yards to get to 3,000 career yards. This has been a great player here for FAMU. Just a good student athlete. He's working on his masters right now.
2nd down and goal from the 6 for FAMU. Here's Pompey to the right side. Pompey inside the 3 to about the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. Game-saving tackle by Oliver.
Pompey just running a stretch play with the handoff to the right side of the defense. Cuts up hard. Oliver is able to stop him right before he gets into the end zone with the ball on the 2-yard line. And this amounts to pretty much an extra point if they decide to kick the field goal. But I think they're going to try to run Pompey in here, see if they can't get him in the end zone and win the game that way.
Pompey, the lone setback. Pompey with the ball. Pompey stopped at the 1. No signal from the officials. It's 4th down. Let's bring on the field goal kicker. Let's bring on Wesley Taylor. That's how close they are. Wesley Taylor, remember, he missed one earlier in the ball game from 46 yards out. This is no more than an extra point. In fact, it's closer than an extra point.
Give Pompey a lot of credit in overtime. I mean, he came in here on the 3rd and long, was able to get the 1st down and just really ran his ball all the way down to the 1-yard line. So he just took control of the overtime right here.
So Bethune-Cookman trying to ice the kicker, Taylor, who tied the game up with a 43-yard field goal with 13 seconds to go. I think at this juncture, he's not disturbed. Well, what do you think's going through his head? I don't know. I was thinking he'd be okay, but he looks like he's worried.
He'll be okay after he missed this kick. I mean,
he misses it.
You don't take anything for
granted. You said he'll be
here.
okay after he misses it?
Well, after he makes this kick.
Let's go down to Jay.
Hey, fellas, you talk about Rashard Pompey going over 3,000 yards for his career at Florida A&M. What a great achievement from a guy that came to FAMU as a walk-on. If that's not a motivational story, I don't know what is. You go out of high school unrecruited, you walk away as a 3rd leading all-time rusher in your school's history. Fellas, back to you.
All right. Roosevelt Kaiser is the holder. Wesley Taylor for the win. 17-yard field goal, FAMU. Snap. Kick up, good. Seniors win.
You see the FAMU seniors, after losing 3 times to your arch rival Bethune-Cookman, you're finally able to get a win. Really big for the FAMU program, and Coach Carter finishes 6-5 to have a winning season in his first career Florida Disney Classic.
What a year for Reuben Carter. Came in, inherited a coaching staff he had nothing to do with in terms of hiring. Struggled early on and finally got the win. Our final score from the Disney Florida Classic, Florida A&M 26, Bethune 23. In overtime, the senior class of the Rattlers avoided being winless in the 59-year history of the rivalry against Bethune-Cookman. For Jay Walker, Eddie Robinson, Charlie Neal, so long from Orlando. Now let's go out to Blackshear Stadium in Prairie View, Texas.